Across the UK, online and on DAB.
Talk Radio. We'll get you talking. Talk Radio.
Evening, dear listener. I think we've got the night right tonight. We're going to be celebrating the magic of Peter Tatchell. The man is an absolute legend, and he's going to be coming on, and then we'll take your phone calls. Anyone can call in about absolutely anything you want. No Brexit, no Trump. Boring. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. You give me a call, we call you back. Hold off for a little bit, though, while we have a little chat with Peter Tatchell, and then you can call in with anything you want. I'm Iain Lee. This is Talk Radio.
Late night, Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
Russian nationalists shouting death to homosexuals have attacked demonstrators calling for the right to hold a gay pride march in Moscow. British activist Peter Tatchell was knocked to the ground, kicked and punched in the face before being taken away by riot police. The right said Fred singer Richard Fairbrass was beaten up as he tried to talk to journalists, and 2 European politicians were also briefly detained. Viewers may find some of these pictures distressing. This is what happens to gay rights campaigners in Moscow. They'd gathered to call for a gay pride march in the city, something the mayor of Moscow has described as satanic. They were confronted by a group of Orthodox Christians and right-wing nationalists. The chant means Russia without homosexuals. The British campaigner Peter Tatchell was among the gay rights group. First of all, he had water thrown at him. Then he was punched in the face. Yet he was the one then led away by the police.
If you've not seen that, it's incredible. It's on YouTube. I thoroughly recommend having a look. Just type in Peter Tatchell, Moscow. And that is, I think, in 2007 in Moscow. And the footage is, it's remarkable. You know, when he says he gets smacked in the face, he gets smacked in the face and then is taken away and is arrested. Peter Tatchell fascinates me, absolutely fascinates me, because constantly confronts bigotry and hatred. And seems to be absolutely fearless. Last week, when I thought we had him on, we had the weeks wrong. I spent a good hour watching loads of videos, and I'm sure lots of you will have seen him trying to place Mugabe under a citizen's arrest, and he gets another kick in, and he gets a slap, and he gets knocked to the floor, and it's absolutely horrific. And Peter Tatchell is one of those names, one of those faces that kind of pop up. Just constantly pop up, and I just think the man is an absolute legend. You know, it is like seeing some of these videos. If you've ever seen the programme Balls of Steel, it's kind of like a more advanced version of that. It's incredible. And I thought we'd invite Peter on to have a little chat about why he does these things, how he first did these things, and by coincidence, he did one of these things at the weekend, and the video of that has gone all around the place. I'm hoping Peter Tatchell's on the line. Are you there, Peter?
I am, Iain, yes. Greetings.
I'm so sorry we got the week wrong last week. We were a week out, and I was tweeting you going, I'm so excited, Peter Tatchell's coming on. And you went, I don't think I am coming on. So I apologise if I kind of gave you a little bit of a scare.
That's fine. I'm sorry that for those expecting me last week, they had to wait a whole extra week.
That clip I played, that's from Moscow, 2007. What do you remember about that trip?
Well, I went there to Moscow at the invitation of Russian LGBT campaigners. They wanted to exercise their right under Russian law to hold a gay pride parade. The Russian constitution states that it is the citizens' right to hold a protest. And, of course, when they applied to hold a gay pride parade, the result was very different. Disregarding the law and the constitution, the mayor of Moscow banned the parade point blank. So I went there to support those Russian activists who said, we will exercise our democratic right regardless of what the mayor says. And as you saw and heard in that little clip, we were set upon by neo-Nazis and the police colluding together. And I was very badly beaten, almost unconscious, and ended up with permanent brain and eye damage.
This sounds like a really simple question, but maybe it's not. Why? Why do you do it? Why do you put yourself in those situations, Peter?
I feel, rightly or wrongly, that I have a duty to help people who are suffering and struggling for their freedom. If I was in their position, I would want someone to help me. So I think at least I can reciprocate that. I can do something, maybe something small, maybe not very significant, but I know that when I went to Moscow that time, it was a huge morale boost for the Russian activists and their straight friends and allies to have me go there and support them. And, you know, I got a bashing. Other years, they got a bashing. I think it's really important that we all stand together and we send a signal to the Putin regime that they may be tyrannizing their own people, gay and straight, but we're going to make sure the world sees it. And I think because I went along to Moscow that year, I brought quite a lot of British media and other Western media who were there because I was there, and they filmed what happened, and it showed in a very, very obvious and clear way the brutality of the Putin regime. You know, we were peaceful protesters. We weren't threatening, insulting, or doing anything wrong other than seeking to exercise our lawful right under the Russian Constitution, and that's the way they treated us. And you could see really clearly the way the Moscow City Police and the riot squad were in cahoots with the neo-Nazis and the extreme nationalists. They were working together like a team.
It's remarkable footage. It's incredible. And then the report goes on, and Richard Fairbrass from Right Said Fred rocks up, and he's missed what's happened to you, and he's being interviewed. He says, I'll just come here to support, and he's all smiles. And then the same thing happens to him. He gets assaulted in an horrendous manner. He doesn't get arrested. He manages to escape. But it really is... you must be scared in those situations.
Oh, I am. Yeah, I freely admit that I'm terrified. But somehow I sort of think to myself, well, it might be dangerous, but I'll probably get away with it. That's my calculation.
Right, okay, yeah.
And also I think to myself, I do have the protection of a British passport.
Yep.
They're probably less likely to harm me, although, of course, the neo-Nazis didn't know whether I was British or Russian. They just saw me as part of the protest group, and they went for all of us, you know, fists and boots flying. But, you know, it's true that any one of them could have had a knife and just plunged it into my heart, and I would have been dead.
Peter, how did you get involved with all of this? When you were growing up, do you remember I don't want to say what the first protest was. It's like I'm talking about the first album you bought. But how did you kind of know that this is the sort of thing you wanted to do?
Well, it never started off like that. You know, my passion as a teenager was art and design. I wanted to be an architect, but my parents couldn't afford to send me to university, which cost money in those days in my homeland of Australia.
Yeah.
It cost a lot of money, in fact. So that was my ambition, my desire. But I can remember at the age of 11, in 1963, reading in the papers and seeing on the TV news about the murder of 4 young black girls in a church in Birmingham, Alabama. And I thought to myself, how can anyone kill another human being, let alone 4 young girls in church on a Sunday morning? And that really revolted me, and it made me so distressed. They were about my own age, so I related to them and thought, hey, if I'd been there and I'd been black, it could have been me.
Yeah.
So that prompted an interest in the black civil rights movement. And because I was brought up in a very devoutly religious family, a devoutly Christian family, I very much related to Martin Luther King as a Baptist minister. But it wasn't until I was 15, in 1967, that I actually did my first ever protest. And that was against the death penalty. In those days, there was still capital punishment in the state of Victoria in Australia. And an escaped prisoner, Ronald Ryan, was going to be hanged for allegedly shooting dead a prison warder during a jailbreak. Now, I read some of the newspaper reports, and in particular, the autopsy report on the dead warder's body. And I worked out that from where the escaped prisoner was standing and where the warder was standing when he was shot, reading the autopsy report about the trajectory of the bullet through the warder's body, the escaped prisoner, almost certainly could not have fired the fatal shot. The bullet had to have done almost a U-turn in midair.
Yeah.
So I got involved in the protest to try and save his life. Sadly, he was hanged anyway, and that really shattered my confidence and trust in the government, the police, and the court. I thought to myself, how could they hang a man when there was at least some doubt about his guilt? Then, that it wasn't guilt beyond reasonable doubt. It was actually not guilt, with some considerable degree of evidence. And that prompted me to really become a lifelong skeptic of authority. It's not that I'm against authority, full stop, or per se.
But we need to ask
questions. But I always
about them.
question it. I question it.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned the black girls being murdered in Alabama and the Capitol Project, because I naively assumed that your first kind of protest would have been gay rights, because I imagine, I don't know, but I imagine growing up when you did in Australia that being a young gay man was quite a difficult situation to be in.
Well, it was. In the state of Victoria, in the 1960s, in fact, right up until 1981, homosexuality was a very serious criminal offence.
Was it that late? Wow.
You could be jailed for several years and forced to undergo compulsory psychiatric treatment in a mental hospital. I mean, that's what it was like.
So how did gay men and women? I mean, I guess it was all undercover and all secret and all coded.
That's right. And when I was growing up, there were no gay organisations, no helplines, no counselling services, absolutely nothing. So it was a very scary and lonely existence. And a dangerous one, because queer bashing was rife. Yeah. And I've got to say, the police used to go out to the gay cruising areas and themselves beat up gay people.
Wow.
And in those days, the police were above the law. You couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Gay men were badly beaten up by queer bashers, and sometimes, I'm not saying all the time, but sometimes by police, and they got away with it.
See,
so that when I realised I was gay at the age of 17 and heard about these horror stories, I resolved that I wanted to do something. I never intended to make it a lifelong project or commitment, but I thought I want to do my little bit to help change this, to help change the bad mistreatment of the Indigenous Aboriginal people of Australia, to end Australia's involvement in the Vietnam War, and to fight for LGBT equality.
It is 1981. I mean, I'm saying that's recent, but when did it become legal in this country? It was 67 or 68, wasn't it? Something so, only just over a decade.
No.
No, go on.
That's the big misconception.
Go on.
There was a part up until 1967.
Yeah,
homosexuality in this country was punishable by life imprisonment.
Wow,
life imprisonment.
That's amazing.
1967.
Yeah,
and the same kind of thing. Sometimes forced psychiatric treatment.
Yeah,
because it was deemed that homosexuality was a sickness, an illness that needed to be cured. So 1967 was a partial, limited decriminalisation.
Right.
But all the anti-gay laws, some of them dating back centuries, remained on the statute books. So the law that sent Oscar Wilde to prison in 1895, the anti-gay law that jailed him, was only repealed, finally, in 2003.
Bloody hell, I did not know that.
The law against anal sex, which was passed in the reign of King Henry VIII in 1533, was only repealed 13 years ago.
Oh, man.
These laws remained on the statute book,
but
they weren't prosecuted in certain narrow circumstances. after 1967, the repression of gay people became even worse. It seemed that the reaction of the police was, we've given you an inch, you're not getting, even eighth of an inch more.
Yeah. Oh.
And so the number of convictions of gay and bisexual men rocketed by nearly 400% in the 5 years after 1967. In 1989, at the height of the Conservative government's anti-gay propaganda and anti-gay rhetoric, coinciding, of course, with the AIDS hysteria, and which gay men were demonised and blamed for the epidemic.
The gay plague. The gay plague was a phrase that was bandied around.
That's right. That's
God's punishment.
Absolutely. Well, coinciding with that, in 1989, over 2,000 gay and bisexual men were convicted in England and Wales for consenting adult same-sex behaviour.
Wow.
Over 2,000. That's almost as great as in 1954-55, when homosexuality was totally illegal, punishable by life imprisonment, and the country was gripped by an anti-gay witch hunt.
Yeah.
And people don't seem to realise this.
No, well, I didn't realise it. You've educated me tonight, Peter.
But of course, we are in an almost different country today. Up until 1999, Britain had, by volume, the largest number of anti-gay laws of any country in the world. Some of them dating back decades and centuries. Now, today, we have some of the best laws. So just think about it. 1999 to 2016, in 17 years, we have repealed all the anti-gay laws. We have changed public attitudes so that support for gay rights is now the majority public opinion. That has been an extraordinary social liberalization which has transformed the lives of, 1 or 2 or 3 million LGBT people in this country. I'm not saying things are perfect now, they're not.
No.
But boy, they're much, much better than they were. And I want to pay tribute to straight people because, of course, the struggle was led by LGBT people, lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people. But we could have never succeeded without the support of our straight friends and allies. So I thank them. I thank everybody who's walked and marched and lobbied and supported the gay equal rights movement. Gay or straight, you are heroes and heroines, and I want to really thank you from the bottom of my heart.
It's always, from a very young age, struck me as I've never been able to understand the hatred that people feel towards people because someone's a different colour, and also the hatred that people feel towards someone just because of who they love. Because and I've been in the same room as people who have hatred for people because they love someone of the same sex. I don't get it, man. Love is what it's all about, and the fact that there is, it's still around, this hatred and this narcissism. I've got to ask you, Peter, Robert Mugabe, trying to... Now, was this in Brussels you did this, or was it in London?
Well, there were 2 attempts.
Oh, man, OK, go on.
In 1999, with some colleagues from the LGBT group Outrage, we ambushed his motorcade in central London, and then in 2001... I tried to arrest him in the lobby of the Hilton Hotel in Brussels. And
I think it's the one, the Brussels one is the one that I watched most recently. I mean, it's all incredible footage. You tried to put him under a citizen's arrest for his if I've got this right, for his awful human rights record. And again, it looked, I mean, you look scared as you're doing it. Talk us through that, because it was an horrific experience.
Yeah, I mean, I got a late-night tip-off on Friday night that Mugabe was going on a state visit to Belgium, and I was given his full itinerary. So I decided that the best place to try and, ambush him or, put him under arrest was as he left the Hilton Hotel, where he was scheduled to meet one of the European commissioners to discuss trade and aid deals.
Yeah.
So I knew he was going to be in the hotel. He had to exit at some point. He'd have to come through the lobby. Therefore, I would wait in the lobby and try and arrest him as he walked out to get into his limousine. So I tried to look discreet. So I played the hapless tourist, and I positioned myself in one of the boutiques in the lobby.
Yeah.
And turned away, looking out of the building, but in a way that I could see the reflection of the inside of the lobby in the plate glass. So they couldn't see, because I was afraid that, given I tried to arrest him in London in 1999, his bodyguards might he might recognise me.
Go out
so
the other way.
I used that subterfuge. So when he came out of the lift and started walking through the lobby towards the revolving door, I was looking in the plate glass window, following his movements. And as his entourage came parallel with me, I then stumbled out into the middle of his entourage like a hapless tourist. Brilliant. But I smiled and beamed and held out my hand to shake his. And that disarmed all the people around him because they thought I was a well-wisher.
Fantastic.
So they sort of moved out of the way and let me get through. I got just 2 or 3 feet away from him. And then I said, President Mugabe, you're under arrest on charges of torture. Torture is a crime under international, bang, whack in the head.
Yeah.
And then the bodyguards dragged me over into the corner. And in that, I think it's a Reuters footage, you can hear them banging me on the head with their fist. You can hear my skull cracking, Anyway, I was knocked down on the floor by the blows. And then what was funny was the rest of his entourage tried to rush him out of the building, so they piled into the revolving door, but then tried to push it and to force it, and it got stuck.
Oh, it's like blooming the Keystone Cops or Inspector Clouseau. Fantastic.
So Mugabe and about 60 of his bodyguards were stuck in the revolving door.
Beautiful.
Then they were banging on the glass to the bodyguards who were attacking me to kind of help them to release the revolving door. Oh. So as the bodyguards left to try and release the revolving door, I scampered out through the fire exit and ran around into the front of the hotel and stood on the other side of the plate glass revolving door. And Mugabe was standing right in front of me. We were like a sheet of plate glass divided us, but we were about 18 inches apart.
Oh, incredible.
And I was shouting, arrest the torturer, arrest the murderer, put Mugabe on trial. And then eventually I was grabbed by Belgian Secret Service agents. They slammed me very roughly up against the plate glass windows. But in the meantime, Mugabe's people did release the revolving door. Then they some of them rushed over. They put him in the car, and the others rushed over and started beating me. And then at that point, cameras came around and demanded to know, who are you? Why are you beating this peaceful protester? So while they were distracted, I scampered between their legs and ran out into the driveway just as Mugabe's limousine was leaving and stood right in front of it. So it screeched to a halt. And then that was my denouement.
You do make it sound...
The bodyguards came out, and then I was beaten unconscious. And I woke up... Well, I think I was only briefly unconscious, and only probably for 30 seconds or a couple of minutes or something. But by the time I woke up, his entourage had long departed. And
isn't it strange that we can laugh about a story that ends up with you being beaten unconscious, but you do make it, that your character is the hapless tourist, and you do make it sound very much like a theatrical performance. Is there an element of performance when you're doing these things?
Well, I see it more like a military operation.
Right.
I mean, the planning that goes into all these, protests, they're very well worked out. And I've usually got a plan A and a plan B and sometimes even a plan C.
Yeah.
And it's all very well thought out about what I'm trying to achieve and what the effect would be. So I never intended to get beaten unconscious.
No.
I was prepared to and did expect to be roughed up a bit. And I thought that if that happened and there were TV cameras around, that would be very good to show the brutality of Mugabe's regime. What happened was, of course, something much worse than I expected. And it's another instance where I got brain and eye damage as a result. I think that looking at it on the bright side, first of all, I wasn't injured nearly as badly as thousands of democracy protesters have been injured in Zimbabwe itself. Many of them been maimed and even killed. So I think I got off lightly.
Yeah.
The other thing is that I think most people who saw that film footage concluded if Mugabe is prepared to beat up a peaceful protester in the heart of a European capital city in broad daylight in front of TV cameras, just imagine what he's doing to his own people when no one is watching.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was a very, very effective way to shine a spotlight on the brutality of his regime.
How do you relax, Peter? When you've done that, when you've been beaten unconscious, and I'm assuming you get checked out in the hospital. What do you do when you go home to kind of de-stress?
Well, if you ask me the question, how do I relax? My answer is very rarely and with difficulty.
The stress isn't good for you, Peter. The stress is what's going to kill you.
Well, exactly. Yeah, I do have to watch it. My stress levels are astronomical.
Yeah, I bet.
Because it's a very, very intense experience. And, I'm always incredibly nervous, partly about failing and not succeeding, and partly because of the fear of what the consequences might be. Getting arrested is the least of it, but being, beaten up and getting some, permanent damage, that is always a thought, and always a concern. But somehow I just think to myself, well, again, if I was suffering like this, I'd want someone to take some risk for me. If I can do something that helps raise public awareness and puts people in power under pressure, then it's worth the risk.
Are you surprised sometimes at actually how easy it is to get access? I'm thinking of the clip of you disrupting, is it the Archbishop of Canterbury, his Easter sermon? And there's like a look, you kind of just burst in, and there's a look of surprise on your face, almost that you managed, that you got that far and you're stood in the pulpit with him.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I am sort of gobsmacked. I mean, in the run-up to the Iraq War, which I was very much against, I ambushed Tony Blair's motorcade. I heard that he was going to meet the German Chancellor, then Gerhard Schroeder, at the Royal Academy in Piccadilly. So I wanted to do a protest against the Iraq War to oppose this senseless and illegal, unjust war, which everybody knew that weapons of mass destruction didn't exist, that this 45-minute warning was nonsense. I wanted to do something, so I decided I was going to ambush his motorcade. And this is a tactic that I perfected, because getting near to or accessible to world leaders is very difficult. But the one vulnerability they have is when they're traveling from A to B, because there can't be a police person on every street corner and every stretch of road. So I decided I was going to try and ambush his motorcade. Now, this was in the time when the IRA was still doing nasty stuff. And there was other terrorist threats as well. So I was mindful that I had to be careful. What I did was I took a calculated guess that he would travel with the traffic. So he'd go up Park Lane and then come along Piccadilly towards the Royal Academy. So I lay in wait in a gift shop. It was actually called Gifts of London on Piccadilly. I was to position myself in the back of the shop, but with an eye line up the street so I could see any approaching motorcade. And, all around, the whole street was teeming with police walking up and down, standing on the street. There were sharpshooters on the rooftops. Anyway, I lay in wait, and of course, my big worry was, if Tony Blair has to go to the Royal Academy, so does Gerhard Schroeder. Let's hope I ambushed the right car. So the upshot was, I knew what time the meeting was. I think it was about 5 o'clock. Come, I think it's 7 minutes to 5, I see the flashing motorcycle outriders of the police. And I think, I just hope this is Tony Blair in his car. And so what I did, I waited until they were about maybe 50 yards up the street, and then I walked straight out the shop door, straight across the road, and by that time the motorcycle outriders had gone, and the first car had gone, and that first car is usually special branch, diplomatic protection people. And then I just ran out straight in front of the next car, which happened to be that of the Prime Minister, Tony Blair.
Wow.
It screeched to a halt about 9 inches from my legs. Then I pulled out a placard from under my jacket and held it up. And there was Tony Blair in the back of his car, rolling his eyes.
Oh, bloody hell, it's Peter Tatchell, we've been Tatchelled!
But what struck me as strange, or I was there for what seemed like an eternity. Yeah. When you're doing something like this, 30 seconds seemed to be 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It probably only took a minute, but there was a really long delay before special branch and armed protection officers jumped out of the car behind. Because I don't think they'd seen me jump in front of his limousine.
Yeah.
They didn't know why it had stopped. And I think their procedure is obviously, presumably for security reasons, the standard procedure is not to immediately jump out of your vehicle in case this is a stop, which you're going to be all sprayed with machine gun fire by a terrorist. Anyway, so it took them about a minute to actually get out of the vehicle. And then I decided I wasn't going to go quietly, so I held on under the chassis, the front chassis of the car, to make them, I thought I'll make them work to get rid of me.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I was shouting out, against the Iraq War. In the end, they did, I think it took about 3 officers, bagged my legs, arms, and around my waist, yanked me away from the Prime Minister's car. And accidentally, when they did that, my fingers clipped his number plate, and 3 of the screws popped out. The Prime Minister's number plate was hanging and dangling and swinging backwards and forwards on one screw.
And who says protests don't achieve anything?
I was taken, I think, to Vine Street Police Station, which was not far away. But the police were very, very angry because I breached, top security.
Well, you'd embarrass them, yeah.
Yeah, I embarrassed them. So they put those fixed handcuffs on me.
Right.
They're like little stocks, and they squeezed them really tight.
Yeah.
So they cut into my wrist, and then they twisted it. And it feels like a knife is cutting into your wrist. It's absolute agony. And they did that. The officer did that. I wasn't resisting arrest or anything. They did that. In my opinion, it was malicious. But anyway, by the time we got to this police station, other officers arrived to interrogate me. And so I said, okay, if you let me make a phone call, I'll give you a full brief. And my brief to them was, what I don't basically tell them what I did and how I did it, but I made the point, if I had an Uzi submachine gun on the back of my jacket instead of a placard, I could have potentially killed the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
Now, of course, the car is bulletproof. There's bulletproof glass and armor plating. But where the glass meets the frame of the window frame of the car and in the door, where the doors open and close, those bits aren't. And if I'd put a nozzle in there with a high-powered weapon, I could have potentially fired it and potentially killed the Prime Minister. So I said, look, you really do need to improve your security. So they said, well, thank you very much for that security advice. And they all had a whip around to buy me something to eat.
Peter, I'm going to let you go in a sec. We've kept you longer than we said. I could talk to you, I find you so fascinating. I can't let you go without mentioning what you did at the weekend. You interrupted a speech by Jeremy Corbyn to make a protest about Syria. I imagine that wasn't the hardest thing you've infiltrated. Why did you pick that speech, and why was it so important that you did that this weekend?
Well, morally and ethically, and even politically, it was a very difficult decision to take because basically I'm a supporter of Jeremy Corbyn. And I think a lot of what he's proposing, he never gets a fair hearing, but a lot of what he's proposing is really good and positive for the people of this country. But I think on Syria, he's got it wrong. Of course, he says that he's against the human rights abuses there.
Yeah.
But he never explicitly speaks out and denounces the Russian regime. I mean, he is very vocal, and rightly so, in condemning Saudi war crimes in Yemen. And I support him 100% on that.
Yeah.
But he hasn't, tackled Russian and Assad war crimes in Syria with the same ferocity and explicitness. And, in particular, he says, or the Labour Party says, that they're in favour of airdropping aid to besieged civilians in cities like Aleppo and the other cities and towns that are also under siege. Food, medicine, fuel, clothes, blankets, and so on. But he says he's in favour of that, but he's never brought it to Parliament to try and force a debate and a vote. And, Jo Cox was a great champion of humanitarian aid, the murdered Labour MP. And she was pressing for Labour to demand and make parliamentary time for a debate and vote on humanitarian airdrops. Well, after all these months, when Jeremy Corbyn had never come out and actually initiated anything in Parliament to get a debate and vote on airdrops, I thought, I have to challenge him. I have to challenge him. Much as I love him and support him in so many ways, I have to challenge him because he could have done that. I've got to say, I was surprised, even when I raised this issue with him at that protest, he did not turn around and say, yes, I will go to Parliament and push for airdrops of humanitarian aid. That was a terrible, terrible mistake. He could have turned that protest to his advantage. If he turned around and said, yes, Peter, I hear what you and the Syrians are saying. I'll go to Parliament this week and I will push for airdrops of humanitarian aid. That would have been a win-win for him.
Yeah.
But his silence or his evasion made it, a bit of a negative. And I'm sorry about that because, I do want him to be the Prime Minister.
Have you spoken to him since? I don't know how well you know him, but has he sent you a text or anything? Or have you spoken on the phone?
No, but he did say in his own speech, he thanked us for raising Syria. And he was gracious. To give him his fairness, he was gracious. He could have been very irritable and nasty and denounced us, but he said, "Thank you, Peter and the Syrians, for raising the issue of Syria." So it does show the measure of the man that even though we interrupted his speech, he was ready to thank us, and that shows the good side of him. And of course, the day was Human Rights Day, and this was a human rights speech. And I know he spoke about many other things, including domestic violence against women and sexual assaults on women, which are all very important. We didn't want to detract from that, but we really felt that the mass murder that's happening in Syria today has to be an issue that Labour has to not just say they support, but actively campaign for. We've never had a Labour campaign of solidarity with Syrian Democrats and civil society activists. We've never had Labour supporting the bid to get the United Nations vote in the General Assembly for humanitarian aid. I mean, maybe they do privately, but they've never promoted it. They never publicly campaigned for it. And that really is a big failing.
Peter,
having said that,
yeah.
Of course, the ultimate responsibility right now rests with the Conservative government. They are the government. They have the power to authorise the aid drops tomorrow.
Oh, of course, but you would hope that Labour would be kind of pushing them in, raising the issue and pushing it forward.
Absolutely, and I think that the opposition's role is to hold the government to account, and when the government is not acting to pursue humanitarian aid drops, the leader of the opposition should be saying loud and clear, "You are wrong. We want a vote. We want these aid drops to happen."
Peter, it's such a pleasure to talk to you. Congratulations as well on the Albert Medal you got for your tireless campaigning on human rights and social equality. I know you got that last month. I think the world is literally a much better place because of you and people like you who are prepared to do the most ridiculous, dangerous things in order to raise awareness and make change for people who perhaps don't get heard so much. I just want to say thank you, Peter, for everything you've done, because I think you're fab.
Well, thank you, Iain. And I've got to say, you did say you and people like you, and I want to emphasise that it's never been me alone. I've always had support and always acted in support of others. So for me, all these different things I've done, it's been a team effort.
Yeah.
And on Saturday, although the media hype was all about Peter Tatchell disrupts Jeremy Corbyn's speech, in fact, I was there supporting a protest organised by Syria Solidarity. It was their protest. I was there to support them. And without them, the protest wouldn't have taken place. So it's always a collaborative effort. And I'm so honoured to have been part of so many amazing events and campaigns over the last 50 years of my human rights activism. It's been such a privilege, such an honour. And I just want to leave you with my final thought. Please, if anyone's interested, go to my website, petertatchellfoundation.org. You can, there's a little join us button in the top right-hand corner. You can sign up. It's totally free. You can receive our email bulletins, or you can follow me on Facebook or Twitter. And my motto that keeps me going is this. It's very, very simple. This is what has guided me. This motto that I sort of made up on my own imperfect, haphazard way.
Yeah.
This has guided me for 50 years. Don't accept the world as it is. Dream of what the world could be, and then help make it happen.
That'll do. That's perfect. That says it all, Peter. I'm going to tweet the link to the Peter Tatchell Foundation so that people can find it quite easily. Thank you, mate. Thank you for sitting and chat. I could talk to you all night, and thank you.
Well, thank you, Ian, and thank you to your listeners, and best wishes for the new year, 2017.
Thank you very much. That was a better year. Peter, you have an open invitation. Anytime you want to come on the show, boss, and talk about stuff, you're more than welcome. Absolute legend. PeterTatchellFoundation.org. I'm going to tweet the link if you want to go and have a look. That we should be so brave in our beliefs. All right, onwards and upwards. Your phone calls, please. 0344 499 1000. This is Talk Radio.
Late night, Iain Lee on Talk Radio. We'll get you talking.
Evening, dear listener. Thank you, Peter. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. You're more than welcome to. It's a show where we celebrate, where we embrace, where we don't point our fingers and go, oh, look, they're different. They look different. They wear different clothes to us. We don't do that. We're here to celebrate and embrace. Imagine a radio show where there's very little negativity and there's very little meanness. And instead, we celebrate. That's what this is. That's what this tries to be. I don't always get it right, but I'm having a damn good go at doing something a little bit different and unique. If you want to give me a call, you're more than welcome to. You know the rules. No talk about Trump or Brexit, because it's boring, unless there is one caveat. Unless you have something completely new and unique to say that hasn't been said so far. Because if you want to hear, talk about Trump and Brexit, go and listen to all the other places, because that's all they're doing. Unless you've got something unique to add to the conversation, which you won't. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. Bruce!
Hip, hip, hip.
Hip, 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 Bruce. What kind of cake?
Manna cake.
What?
Country manna cake.
What? Say that again?
Country manna cake.
Country man? What the hell is country manna cake?
It's like a fruit cake with, like normally caster sugar or something on top of it.
I don't like wedding cake.
Okay.
Yeah, wedding cake for me is, when I got married, we had a chocolate cake, I think. Wedding cake is too heavy. Is wedding cake is the same kind of cake as Christmas cake, isn't it?
Yeah. I think that's probably a good way of describing it. I had a 3-tiered wedding cake, and we had a fruit cake as a smaller cake.
Yeah.
And a
for the traditionalists.
For the traditionalists, yeah. A lemon cake in the middle was the kind of mid-size.
Beautiful.
And the bottom tier was a chocolate.
Oh, mate, now that is it only weddings where you get more than one tier of cake?
Yeah, I think I don't recall any other kind of occasion where you get a cake with
christenings. Do you get cake at christenings? You're supposed to eat a slice of the wedding cake at the christening, aren't you?
I don't know. I'm an atheist.
Or is it when it's born? Either when the baby's born or when it's christened, you're supposed to save a slice of the wedding cake, because that stuff lasts forever.
It does last a very long time. That's thanks to all the alcohol. Of course.
Yeah.
It's been doused in.
Here's the thing as well, Bruce. While we're discussing cakes, we're going to move slightly on to puddings. As a youngster, I hated Christmas pudding.
But now,
this year, I think is the first year. Actually, I'm thinking, ooh, I can half murder a bit of Christmas pudding.
I've always been a big fan, but my wife is not a fan of Christmas pudding.
Yep.
So
it's not worth buying it just for one, is it?
Well, you can buy individual ones now.
Oh, can you really?
You can buy small individual ones.
Can you?
But we've got about 8 people for Christmas Day. So on that occasion, it's fine. I don't know whether they're going to eat the Christmas pudding, but if not, that's breakfast for the next few days.
Yeah. Oh, I'm really looking forward to my Christmas dinner. I'm not feeling Christmassy, Bruce. I don't have the spirit of Christmas within me yet for various reasons. But I'm looking forward to my Christmas dinner.
Is there a finer invention on the Christmas dinner plate than a pig in a blanket?
I think they're a bit weird, pigs in blankets. That is some messed up stuff. That's like invented by Tarantino, isn't it? So you're going to get a bit of a pig and wrap it in a bit of a pig.
It's a bit like my wife has no problem eating chicken and egg.
Yeah.
In a meal.
Yeah.
I think that's weird.
Yeah.
I take on board what you're saying. Yeah, but so I have the same feeling about that. I wanted to call up because I thought someone should speak to you about the show last night. I just listened to the podcast.
Yes.
I read your blog post, by the way, which is very good. I listened to the podcast, and I've never found one of your shows quite as hilarious, but also at the same time as terrifying as last night. So I wanted to applaud you first of all for what you did. I think you were on exceptional form, Sony award-winning form.
Well, if only the Sony still existed, then maybe. Not everyone got the gag. It would have been better. I tell you, the one thing that would have been better is if we'd had more phone calls. That was the only thing, and we got a nice little run in the last half hour of wonderful phone calls. And because we're a new station, and because it kind of came a bit out left of centre, it threw people off a bit. But we got some lovely calls from people that must have been listening for the last few months and haven't picked up that I'm a liberal lefty, slightly centrist. And they just suddenly these words obviously triggered them. Brexit, Bramonas, ding, ding, and they had to phone in. And yet they've been listening for a while.
It was like someone had opened the door to the asylum and the inmates had come cascading out. I think one of my favourite bits was the halal turkey. So that was hilarious.
Yeah.
And the Sharia burger.
Yeah, I like the Sharia burgers. I was a big fan of that. And
brilliant.
And some people said it was a little bit mean because we were laughing at people. I wasn't laughing at anybody that called in. And you know, I'm not one of these people that thinks all Brexiteers are racists and thinks they're all thick. And I don't think that at all. I think some of them are racist, some of them are thick. I think some of the people that voted to remain are thick as well. I think a lot of them are intelligent, intelligent people. So I wasn't laughing at them. It wasn't me poking fun at them. It was me poking fun at what I hear pretty much whenever I switch the radio on and listen to those kind of shows.
Your JOB callers, your her callers, I won't even mention her name. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing is, I'm someone who voted for Brexit. I didn't take offence to it. And I think and I don't think you did, I think what happened last night is you gave people a platform, and if they wanted to dig themselves into a hole, they did, and that wasn't because you were forcing them to. You gave them plenty of outs.
Yeah,
they were doing that to themselves. And I think whether people think that might be cool or not, that is the type of person that was on the phone last night, and that's how some people are, and that's their choice. They live their lives and in their own bubble, and that's great. But I don't think in that regard it was mean-spirited. I think it's a shame for anyone that did listen last night and felt that about
There's a few people thought I was being mean to some of the callers, and if that came across, I apologise. Then maybe I didn't communicate myself properly, because it certainly wasn't an attack on anybody, whatever they voted. I genuinely, I don't hate Brexiteers or think they're thick and racist at all. I think it's a very lazy thing. It was a comment on that style of radio, and I'm a massive radio geek, and I listen to a lot of radio, and it was a comment on that style, and it was a one-off, and some people loved it, thank you. Some people hated it, that's great. Some people are never going to listen to me again because of it, which strikes me as very weird, that one show out of 170 they didn't like means they're not going to listen to the next 169 shows. Some people have taken it as a personal affrontage. It was just me having a little bit of fun and seeing how far I could take it. And to warm up for the show, Bruce, I watched some clips of Anthony Hopkins. And because I was thinking, yes, I was trying to work out. I haven't got an out time, by the way. I was trying to work out how to pitch it and how far I could go. I didn't go anywhere near as far as she does. She is beyond parody. You will look at some of the clips on YouTube. She is beyond parody. And I thought, right, well, I can't go in as heavy as her because people are going to think people aren't going to buy into it. So I had to kind of reel it back a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's like a Steve Coogan character.
Bruce, listen, thank you very much for that. I'm coming up to the top of the hour. Gerry, Dana, Rashid, stay there. I'm not losing my voice, am I? Can you hear it going a little bit husk? There's a little bit of husk. 03444991000 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. I did write a little blog post, which you can go and have a look at, iainlee.com if you want to, about yesterday's show. Thank you to everybody who listened. Thank you to everybody who loved it. Thank you to everybody who hated it. And thank you to those people who won't ever be listening to me again. Who am I talking to then? This is Iain Lee, Late Nights with Iain Lee on Talk Radio. It's a show where we celebrate. I felt dirty yesterday, so today I'm feeling clean. Want to come and join in? 0344 499 1000.
Across the UK, online and on DAB.
A new kind of talk radio. We'll get you talking. Talk Radio.
Another 2 hours to go, dear listener. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Gerry, Dana, Rashid, you'll all be next. Then it could be you, dear listener. Late Nights with Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
Late Night, Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
Here's a message from the Haters Club, dedicated to the one I love. I've been cursed by your wicked kiss. Once felt it's forever missed, forever missed. I'm a member of the Haters Club, and I'm hating every minute of me without you, you without me. Give me some of that misery, that misery. I'm a high hater. I run with the best like Darth Vader and the Witch of the West, poisoning apples to make you ill, like Cruella de Vil. I'll set you up for the kill. It's such a twisted state of bliss, indulging in such hatefulness. I just need a prequel to redeem my evil, 'cause I wasn't always like this, like this. Seeing couples hand in hand makes it hard for me to understand. Me without you, you without me. Give me some of that misery, that misery. I'm a high hater.
dear listener. Iain Lee, Talk Radio. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. If you want to give us a call. It's the home of free speech, dear listener. You're welcome to take part. Gerry!
Hello.
Hello, Gerry. Wagwan, my friend. Wagwan.
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 It always sounds like Doc Kwan to me, that does.
Doc who?
Doc Kwan, or whatever his name is.
I'm saying Doc Khan.
Doc. I'm listening to Frank Sidebottom.
I always get sad. I'm still not quite ready to listen to Frank Sidebottom. I still get a bit sad when I think about lovely Frank.
Christmas in Australia.
Christmas in Australia. Oh, God, blimey. I can't remember that. I haven't heard that for so long. Oh, ho, 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 he, the world is just like one great big giant... Oh, that's the wrong one. That's Christmas is really fantastic.
I'm always happy with these songs.
Say that again, Gerry. You're a little bit slurry this evening, but
I'm sorry about my energy drinks again.
Oh.
And my pill's a bit late.
Oh, I see. Don't you worry about that. You know, we'll always sit and wait until I can get a fine tuning in what you're saying. How's things going, Gerry? You all right?
Yeah, it's been a rough couple of days for me, a rough couple of weeks in fact.
Why, what's happened?
My wheelchair's been melted down.
Melted? Hang on, your wheelchair's been melted down?
That jalopy that come round when you come visit me.
Oh, yeah, you knackered it, though, because you kept shaking too much.
It's got melted down.
What? Are they going to...
wheelchair crematorium.
Are they going to give you a new one, or is that it?
6 months.
6 months?
Wait for a new one.
Hang on, 6 months to get a new wheelchair?
Yeah.
What?
I've got an electric one, but that has been it all the time, so I've wrecked it. So 6 months to wait for a manual wheelchair.
6 months to wait for a manual wheelchair? That's outrageous.
It's a replacement. I've got to be reassessed because I wrecked that one.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Well, when is your assessment?
6 months' time.
That's in 6 months' time.
Yeah, that's been 6 months. That's what we've got to wait for.
That can't be. Hang on a minute. That can't be right. When my mum's wheelchair gets knackered, which it does from time to time, because she's a terrible, terrible driver. They kind of sort it out. A couple of weeks, it might be, but it gets sorted out quite quickly. I can't believe you've got to wait 6 months to get an assessment.
They want to take the electric one away, but there's nothing. But I look at it, I went into a freeze, freeze where I just can't move, and I'm stuck in the wheelchair, so they couldn't get me out of it.
Yeah.
So I got to go in without the wheelchair. Otherwise, I'd have this one away as well.
What can we do to speed that up? Because I can't believe 6 months.
6 months is what I've been told.
I'm not saying you're lying.
It costs them too much to repair it, apparently. Because there's only a couple of handles, a couple of arm rests and stuff, but it's too much, so damages. But there's some semi-condition.
Here's the thing. Would you mind, Gerry, if we got in touch with Parkinson's UK?
No, give it a go. Give it a lovely
Because I cannot... Have you spoken to them recently?
No, I've got all the gubbins, all the things.
Did you scare them off?
No, properly. I was on the floor when they come rolling around, trying to come out with me.
I'll tell you what we'll do. Tomorrow, we'll send an email. You've got an email address, haven't you?
Yeah.
Right. Message me on Twitter with your email address, right? Cass got it. Beautiful. We will send an email and CC you in to Parkinson's UK, because you can't be waiting 6 months for a wheelchair, mate. I know you've got the electric one, but that's bang out of order.
No, I actually want that to know, because I've been sat. That's why I've been calling up from it, because I've been zoning out.
Yeah.
Early, so I've been knackered when you come on.
Yeah. Oh, well, hang on a minute. So you've not been listening recently?
I tried, I've listened, but I haven't
Just because you've been tired? Don't send that email, Kath. Forget it. Forget him. He doesn't deserve our help. No.
Nigel.
Sorry, buddy.
I do listen.
Well, he listens. He got confused. Send the email. We'll send an email. 6 months. Well, that just sounds outrageous to me, mate.
That's what we've been told. That's what we've been told.
Yeah. Well, we'll have a word with Parkinson's UK, and we'll see if they can. Cast her in an email now. We'll see if they can do anything to speed it up. How much is a wheelchair these days? They're not much, the manual ones, are they?
No, keeping nasty sin belts, tubing, so I don't know. Not much.
What exactly is the assessment that you need to have?
I don't know, because I wrecked it too. It's probably costing too much in repairs. But it's just a couple of handles, a couple of side arms, and he breaks occasionally. But the pressure that goes through me is amazing.
Yeah, well, yeah, and they've got to be kind of tough, because fair play, you give them a bit of a pasting, don't you?
I do give them some armour. I should be test. They should be crumple in action, put it that way.
Right, listen, we're going to have word with Parkinson's UK, right?
Okay.
If it's really going to take 6 months, I'll buy you a manual wheelchair.
No, don't be that.
Well, no, because I'm not going to have you... fair play. I've just looked online and they're affordable. If it had been a fortune, you could have got knotted. But I'm not going to let you go 6 months without a manual... Listen, let's see what Parkinson's UK say. And but you're not going 6 months without a wheelchair, Gerry. I'm not having that. I'll buy you one as a Christmas present if I need to.
Thank you.
All right, but let's...
Well, you autograph it for me as well.
Yeah, that'd be an extra 50 quid.
Put some silly spotlights on it.
Let's see what we can do. Let's and I mean, it's getting close to Christmas. Let's.
Don't agree for Argos to get on strike.
Say that again.
Don't agree for Argos strike.
Oh yeah, Argos drivers. Everyone's going on strike. I know the Argos strike has been averted, hasn't it?
I don't know.
I think I heard it had been averted. I'm not totally sure. Gerry, let's see what Parkinson's UK say, and if not, then not like this is a manual one we're talking about, not an electric one, yeah.
Yeah, manual one.
Yeah, because the electric ones.
The electric ones are sitting now, wrecked, destroyed, handles are falling off. It's just the pressure that goes through me.
Yeah. Let's see what we can do, Gerry. Listen, we'll talk again soon. All right? It's not 6 months without a wheelchair. They're about, between 100 and 200 odd quid. You're not going to let him not have a wheelchair for 6 months. Flipping heck. Oh, man. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Alan, Dana, Rashid, come to you after this.
Unmissable late night radio with the original king of unconventional conversation.
Make contact with Iain Lee.
Late night Iain Lee on Talk Radio. We'll get you talking.
Evening, Rashid.
Oh, Iain, celebrate
good times. Come on, yeah. It's a celebration.
There's a party going on right here.
Yes.
Apart from yesterday, to last throughout the year. Apart from yesterday, when Iain was really mean. Now he's feeling dirty, now he wants to be clean. Celebrate good times, come on.
You finished?
Yeah, Iain, wasn't he amazing, eh? What's his name? Peter Tatchell.
Peter Tatchell with his satchel.
He's
good, isn't he? He's an inspiration. He's an absolute inspiration. Imagine putting yourself in actual physical danger to stand up for other people's rights. What a legend!
He does a lot. Even people who are accused of terrorism and things like that, Islamic terrorism, he stands with them. When he sees an injustice, that man. I tell you what, if it ever kicks off, I want him on my side.
Totally. By the way, look, can I just say, I've got loads of people on Twitter who are saying they are gonna they'll chip in a few quid towards Gerry's wheelchair and
I would do that.
No. That's not what this is. Let's see if we can get it sorted out through conventional means.
Let's get one with flashing lights and everything.
No, don't be stupid. Let's get this sorted out. Let's see if Parkinson's UK can work a little bit of magic. But if not, I said I'll get him one. I'll get him one. We'll see what we can do. So don't.
We want to share in the goodness.
You can bathe in the glow of my goodness, Rashid. How's about them apples?
All right, man.
Thank you very much indeed. What you got for us, boss?
Iain.
Yes.
It's that time of the month.
What do you mean?
Blue moon.
Oh.
You saw me standing alone.
Here we go.
Without a dream in my heart.
Pathetic.
Without a love of my own. Ba 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 bang ba bang bang ba dong ding ba ding ding. Blue moon, blue blue blue, blue 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 blue.
The hell was that about? Dana!
Hip, hip, hip.
Thank you, Dana. You're through. You're live on the air, speaking to the nation.
Hip, hip, hip.
Hip, hip, hip.
How are you?
Yeah.
Peter
I'm all
Tatchell,
right. Yeah, Peter Tatchell. What a thoroughly decent, entertaining, slightly theatrical. It's got to be said in some of his performances. But what a good egg! What a good egg!
Oh, I met him in the early 90s at an Outrage meeting.
Oh yeah.
I think I might have met him a couple of times actually.
Outrageous.
And he was just lovely, and yeah. So I just wanted to say that I really enjoyed that. But I just need a couple of things.
Yes.
Yesterday, I was all riled up, and I wanted to be angry.
Oh.
I wanted to ring in,
Yes.
and I actually ring in and said to Kath, "I can't be angry." So
Oh, that's okay. That's good. That's not a thing to be ashamed about. Not being able to be angry.
So I wanted to be angry, and I was trying to find my inner Julia Hartley, but it just wasn't coming out, I'm afraid.
There's too much anger in the world, Dana, and sometimes it's worth just sitting back and going, do you know what? Everything's all right. Everything's all right.
Well, I wanted to I sat back and let everyone else be angry.
Yep. There's a lot of anger there.
But today, I thoroughly enjoyed all the special programmes that Talk Radio have done regarding the Horn Dogs Trust.
Oh, yes. We've really got behind that. Huh?
I thought Paul Ross was wonderful this morning, and all that he's done for this amazing cause.
Yeah.
And him wearing that thong like that.
Yeah.
While
very erotic.
Walking.
Yeah.
Live on the radio like that, I thought was particular, and I'm going to give as much as I can to that.
Brilliant.
To that cause now.
Good for you, Dana. Well done. Dig deep.
Wanted to thank you for bringing that to us.
Dig deep.
And the only other thing, because you're very busy, but I just wanted to wish everyone a happy weekend.
What?
I'm working. I'm working tomorrow night and Friday.
We don't wish. Hang on a minute. We're not in America. When did we start wishing people happy weekends? What the hell are you talking about, woman?
Well, again, I just want to be nice to everyone. It's just that I won't be able to listen for a couple of nights, so I'll have to podcast.
Yeah.
And I just want the world.
We will
to know
make
that I'm
sure,
thinking
Dana.
of them.
We will make sure that we do miserable rubbish shows. Okay. We'll do a couple of rubbish shows. How's about them apples? Yes? Yes?
So I'm not missing anything now.
You'll be missing absolutely nothing, Dana, whatsoever. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. Manny!
Hello, Ian.
Oh, flipping heck, Manny. What's going on? You better be phoning up to tell me you're dying.
I've been bullied by a bus driver.
You've been bullied by a bus driver?
Yeah.
Really? What's going on?
He's been messing me about for a few weeks. He won't pull the bus up to the bus stop. If he sees me, he'll take it forward about 10 yards.
Right, for those who don't know, Manny's blind, okay, which is why this is,
Or he'll put it behind the bus stop, right?
Yeah.
Monday, this old lady, she grabbed me arm. She goes, "Come on, there's a big queue. I'll take." And he goes, "What are you doing that for, old dear? He's blind. He can't walk." So I didn't say nothing then.
Full of heart.
Yeah. Then he moved the bus forward Tuesday.
Yeah.
So I walked forward. I got in the bus. As I'm about to sit down, he sort of speed. He puts his foot down.
Yeah. So you fell over.
No, I didn't fall over. I grabbed the rail.
Yeah.
So Wednesday, I was about to give him the money, and then he goes, "Not in my hand, put it down here." Anyway, he said, "I've got no change." I said, "Okay." So when I was coming back, instead of putting 190, I put 180. I said, "You owe me 10 pence." He goes, "Nope."
Oh.
And he goes, 190, you'll get off.
Flipping heck! What a winker!
I was chatting to this chap today.
Yeah.
He should be accepting my bus pass, but he says we don't accept West Midlands bus passes.
Yeah.
And then the other chap told me, said he should, because he should only charge you half the fare if you've got a West. And he didn't want nothing. So tomorrow, I'm thinking getting on the bus.
Yeah.
And when he shoots off, fall over.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, then get about 25 grand for that. Have you phoned up and spoken to the bus company?
That's what my missus says. She's going to grab him tomorrow.
Yeah, well, I would suggest... do you want to do that, Kath? Right, Manny, don't tell us the name of the bus company.
I will tomorrow.
No, well, do you want Kath to give him a call?
Can do. I'll get all the details. But I was going to. I was just going to get the big gear from them tomorrow.
We've turned into bloody Jonathan Vernon Smith here. Look at, which is not a bad thing. He's a brilliant broadcaster.
I was going to get his details and he say, could you give me your details for the bus company? If he says what, I was going to say, look, we want to hire a bus. My wife said no.
Is there any? Is there any chance, right?
She goes, no, tell him that you want your details, that you want to put a complaint in.
Yeah. Is there any chance, Manny? Are you able to record stuff on your telephone? I know it's
I've got a dictaphone for that.
Use your finger like everyone else.
I've got a dictaphone.
Use your finger like everyone else.
Okay.
Could you, if you could get a recording of him being a plonker?
Yeah.
That would sound great on the radio, wouldn't it?
I can do.
Wouldn't it?
I will do over the next week or so.
Yeah, record him.
Not just one, I'll get a few.
Yeah. Record him being mean to a blind person. And we'll destroy him, and we'll destroy the bus company.
Because a couple of weeks ago, I said, what time does the bus come back? He goes, it's 20 to the hour. And a couple of weeks later, I said to him, well, what told you? I've told you once. 20 to the bloody hour.
I mean, in fairness to him...
He only does it to me, because I'm the only Indian that goes on there.
Manny, in fairness to him, blind people can be quite annoying. I'm joking, of course, for crying out loud.
Right, man.
You're quite annoying.
You was all right.
Get some recordings, Manny. What is wrong with everybody at the moment? Everybody's so miserable and mean. No, we're not having this.
I was just going to say to you before I rang, I'll chip in some money, but you said you don't want. No, I'll chip in some money for the wheelchair.
No. We're not doing that as a thing. We're not doing that as it's not. We're not passing the hat around. Hopefully, Parkinson's UK.
I know,
but you're a kind man, Manny. Listen, I'm going to pass you back to Kath. Tell her the details of the bus company and the name of it and the route and stuff, and then get us some recordings. We don't want that. We don't want that going on, do we? Do we really? I don't think so. They're all coming out of the woodwork. Let's go through them. Alan!
Hip, 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 sir!
Hip, 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 Alan!
I'm sorry I didn't call last night, but you scared me.
What? Why did I scare you?
You were going all serious on old Julia Hartley-Brewer.
Yeah, these things happen from time. It's good to keep you on your toes.
I was watching Performance Ring for Professionals last night.
Yeah.
But what variety?
Say that again.
But what variety performance was on last night?
Was it on last night? Oh, I saw... God, I bet that was dull.
It was like Performance Ring for Professionals.
Like I say, I bet that was dull.
Well, just the Remembering Got Talent was good.
Yeah. Who was on there?
Robbie Williams.
Yeah.
Lady Gaga.
Oh, gosh.
Rob Beckett.
Yeah.
Emily Sandy.
I don't... OK, well, you're listing...
There was a Get There by Bernie Clifton.
Oh, was there? I like Bernie Clifton. I like all of those people. I like Rob Beckett. I think he's very funny. The Bee Gee was on, wasn't he?
Barry Gibb.
The Bee Gee was on.
I can't believe he's 17. He's still going.
Can he do the falsetto anymore?
Yeah, he done it.
Does he?
Yeah.
He looks like a silver lion now, doesn't he?
Yeah, with a perfect man of hair.
Yeah, absolutely. What a legend, Sir Barrington of Gibbages.
Yeah, we miss Robin and Morris so much.
Well, yeah. But he, fair play to him for having a go. I didn't know the Royal Variety Performance was still a thing. Who's hosting it? Michael McIntyre.
David Walliams.
Oh, Walliams was he? Walliams is very much the man of the moment, isn't he?
Yeah.
I've not seen...
Did you see him in today's paper with Alan Cole?
Yes, I did, recreating that Orlando Bloom paddling down the Swanee River picture.
But the paper made it sense out Alan Cole's Ding Dong.
Yeah, well, they have to pixelate it out because you don't really want to see a Ding Dong in a newspaper, Alan, do you?
No,
a bit too much.
Yeah, so I think I did right.
He's, David Walliams really is the man of the moment. Has his new series started, David Walliams and Friends?
Yeah, it's been on BBC One the last few Fridays.
Any good?
No, it's really funny.
Really? I like David Walliams. I think he's funny, and I bet he's I met him years and years ago, and he was always very, very delightful to me. And I do think he's funny, but the show's not had the best reviews.
Could be a turkey, like Christmas turkey.
Oh, it could be, couldn't it, Cads? What are you doing for Christmas?
I'll be at my mum and dad's. I'll be calling in for New Year.
Yeah, New Year's Eve show, guys. We're here 9 till 1 on New Year's Eve.
And it's Howard Hughes on Christmas night.
Sorry?
It's Howard Hughes on Christmas night.
Is he? Well, it will be. I imagine it will be a pre-recorded show.
All right.
Yeah. Well, I imagine that'll be the. I will be fast asleep long before then, because when you've got two little kids at Christmas, it is exhausting.
Yeah.
It knackers you out.
Right, cheers, Ian.
Oh, is that it, Alan? Are we done?
Yeah, we are.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You can't argue with those stats. 0344 499 1000. This is Talk Radio.
Late night conversation worth losing sleep over.
Iain Lee.
On air and off the leash.
On Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
Cha! 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. I'm very excited because I have booked tickets for Saturday, to go and see the new Star Wars film. Now, I'm not a massive Star Wars fan, but now I've got two young boys who will be 7 and 5 in January. And they love Star Wars. And so it's kind of exciting watching big pop culture phenomenons through their eyes. And they were worried, because they're going away for a few days this weekend, and they were worried that they wouldn't get to see the film till after Christmas. But luckily, I thought it was opening on Saturday. It opens on a Thursday, I think. Is that right? Does that sound a bit right? The film opens on a Thursday, so we're going to go Saturday to see it. I don't know if it'll be any good, because they're doing this weird thing. Richard and Ken, stay there, I'll come to you in a minute. They're doing this weird thing where they're making the three main Star Wars movies, but then they're releasing, like, sort of Star Wars movies in between those Star Wars movies. Do you see what I mean? I'm not sure I see what I mean. So they'll be doing that, and there's a Han Solo film they're going to release. Oh, I don't know. It's just a way. They might as well just say, Ian, could you please send us a couple of £100, and we'll send you a load of old tat. That's what they might as well say. But so that's this weekend sorted out. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. Richard.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Richard, you right?
Yeah, good. Cheers. Had a long scrub since yesterday's call. Also, is this Kath phoning and writing letters to people saying a service you're offering? Because I've just moved house and I need to contact my bank and my phone network or something from my new address. So.
Kath is either indicating she'll do one more or it's jog on. I'm not sure which.
It's quite a few, really. It's one job, really, but it's quite a few different letters when you write in.
You're on your own, fella. We don't mind helping some bloke with Parkinson's. We don't mind helping some blind bloke. But you, Richard, do it your bloody self.
I just wanted to, ask, not you personally, but what the hell were you smoking in the 80s?
Sorry?
I saw this video earlier. It's a clip from Noel Edmonds' Saturday Night TV programme.
Yeah.
It's a stunt, but not the, obviously, tragic accident one. But I'd heard the tragic accident one.
Yeah.
And just thought really it's a one-off accident. These things happen, it's sad. But there's a video of an episode, and it's they do a car stunt where the car drive over a ramp and jump over those other cars.
Yeah.
And they're using rubbish cars like a Ford Escort.
Yeah.
And the first one goes, and it just flips and goes into the crowd, nearly hits someone, nearly kills John Peel. But luckily, everyone manages to sort of step back, and the driver's okay and everything.
Yeah.
And you'd think, this is live, you'd think they'd go, oh, God, this has been really poorly designed.
We'll stop now.
Yeah, this car literally just flies into a crowd of people, and just through quick reaction times, luckily no one was killed.
Yeah.
And later on in the programme, they give it another go with another car. And, of course, the car does exactly the same thing. It flips in a different way and just is absolutely crushed, and there's no roll cage in the car. And this time it's not immediately obvious everyone's okay, so it cuts back to like a sort of a bit of a somber Noel Edmonds going, oh God, have I just broadcast someone dying?
Yeah.
But I was just like, well, firstly, who decides to do that in the first place? Secondly, you do it the first time it fails. What was the thinking there? Like, well, it's not going to
Well, Richard, come on. If you fall off your bike, you've got to get straight back on. We learn from our mistakes.
Maybe that's why kids these days are so, soft.
Yeah, because of that.
because
of that I don't remember that. What was that? The Late Breakfast Show or something?
Yeah. Look, and now I understand obviously what led to them ending up killing someone. There was clearly no regard. And
they did, and it was what was the gentleman's name? Was it Jeffrey Love? Michael Lush.
Michael Lush. Yeah.
And it is difficult to remember that it was one of the most horrific things. And my dad worked at the BBC at the time, not connected with that show, but it was, for those who don't remember it, Noel Edmonds did a Saturday evening tea time show, and each week they'd spin a wheel, and a random person would then spend a week learning a stunt. And one of the stunts, if I've got this right, was this gentleman, Mr. Lush, he was in a metal box that was held up. It was held up by a crane. And he had to escape from it. It was an escapology act, and it went horrifically wrong, and he was tragically killed.
Yeah, and I was reading it today. It actually wasn't an accident. They'd been warned they need to use 3 ropes, and they'd been warned they need to use like a different type of caliper or something.
Really?
And they just ignored it, and the health and safety director wasn't present at all.
And it was massive. And I remember my dad telling my mum, well, not telling us because we were too young, but I overheard the conversation about the shock that went through the BBC. Everyone was touched by this absolute awful, and as you say, avoidable tragedy. And the show was taken off the air, and but then Edmonds came back a few months later with the same show, but it had a different name.
Yeah, without the stunts. I remember, so I was born in '89, so that was for my family. But I remember a house party. I remember there was another show on at the same time called You Bet, which had sort of similar stuff in it.
Oh, You Bet was great. You Bet was hosted by Matthew Kelly, and I think Darren Day hosted it. And my favourite thing on You Bet was they had this guy who could recognise a song by looking at the grooves on a record.
No.
Yeah. Oh, it was brilliant. So they have a record with no label on it, and he'd look at it and he'd go, Please Please Me by the Beatles.
I'm going to get lost in the Wikipedia circle.
Swear to God. 0344 499 1000. I'm right, aren't I? That was an act on You Bet. Maybe it was classical music, but I think it was just anything. He could look at it.
That is, if that's true, that's the best thing I've ever heard. And why isn't he like a household name and a multi-billionaire?
0344 499 1000. I've got that right, haven't I, guys? I'm sure I've got that right. You Bet. I couldn't watch You Bet. I find stunts, live stunts, wherever they be, whether it be memorising cards or recognising records from their grooves or whatever, it makes me very, very nervous. Because I'm worried it's going to go wrong.
Sort of a smaller risk than driving a car over some other cars.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But the thought of the failure. And also, here's the thing. Spinning plates, right?
Yeah.
That's a con.
Really?
Because they're not like the plates you get in your kitchen. They're plates that have got like a little dip in the middle. So when you balance them on the stick, they'll stay on the stick. And so when the spinning slows down, they won't fall off. They'll just tilt over to the side.
Oh, what? You just ruined... That was my favourite thing. My favourite activity the weekend was to go out and watch people spin plates.
Richard, I've totally destroyed that pleasure. It's true. First time you realise... Hang on a minute. Those plates have got like little dimples in the middle. They're not falling off. It's a con. Have I got that right, dear listener? I am sure there was a gentleman on You Bet, which was a fantastic show. And he could recognise records, songs, by looking at the grooves in the record. Now I've said it out loud. That sounds too fantastical to be true. I think it is true, though. 0344 499 1000. This is Talk Radio.
Uncut, after-hours conversation for the up-all-night generation. Late Night Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
I didn't imagine it. Now, I don't know if this is the same bloke, but a few people have sent me a tweet, a link, thank you, to a gentleman called Arthur Lintgen, right? I don't know if it's the same guy. Listen to this. Arthur B. Lintgen, born 1942, is an American physician who can recognise... It's classical music. All right, it is the same guy. Who can recognise classical phonograph records with the naked eye. He lives in Philadelphia. He claims no extrasensory powers. When Lintgen sees a vinyl record, he can recognise the music in a couple of seconds. Based on the physical construction and the grooves and contours on the record, he can recognise sections where music is loud or quiet, the length of each movement, and so on. Then he uses... This is flipping brilliant. I've very quickly tried to find a clip of him on YouTube, and I can't. Then he uses his extensive knowledge of European classical music to recognise the music. He can also draw extra information about the structure of the vinyl. For example, because records from different companies are slightly different, he can sometimes guess the conductor. His ability is strictly limited to classical orchestral music by and after Beethoven. I was going to say Beethoven there, for the Bill and Ted reference. Isn't that funny? Arthur Lintgen, it's a real person, and he's still alive. If someone can find a clip of him, I'm sure he was on YouBet. Someone can find a clip of him, we'll have that. 0344 499 1000. We better get to Dennis before he dies. Good evening, Dennis.
Good evening, and how are you this evening?
I am fine and dandy. I get a little bit bunged up, Dennis, a little bit bunged up, so I might have a little cold coming, but I'm all right.
I wish I was in your job with your kids, because I used to love it when my children were young at Christmas time.
Yeah.
I really did.
It's magic. Actual magic.
Faces.
Yeah.
Especially when there's some of the rubbish I'd bought for them.
Well, it's actual magic, and you know there is nothing like Christmas Eve putting them to bed, and then Christmas morning when they get. It's just a joy, you know. It is just a joy, and I'm so blessed to be able to share that.
I'm glad you are. But it's the other way around with me now. You see, I get looked after at Christmas.
Yeah.
I've got the three boys mushing round. One of them's coming over to cook Christmas dinner for us.
Beautiful.
His wife, and then we can sleep in the afternoon when I've had 3/4 of a...
I'm jealous of that, the little afternoon nap. You don't get that when you've got 5 and 7-year-olds, no.
So, no, I'm looking forward to Christmas.
I'm not really, Dennis, because there's a lot of stuff going on. And I'm not really. I'm looking forward to the moments I've just said, but breaks from my routine are not particularly healthy for me at the moment. I don't expect you to understand this. So I'm having a week off, but I'm looking forward to getting back to work.
Yeah, well, it's fine. But I'm looking forward to New Year's Eve as well.
Yep.
We used to go calling around at one time with a piece of coal in your hand and a glass.
And get a kiss, wouldn't you?
No, you knock on the door and you get a drink and you bring the coal in to bring warmth into the house.
Yeah.
First footing.
Yeah, first footing.
Great.
Yeah.
It was
Did you not get a kiss from the woman of the house as well?
Well, I got a kiss from some of the blokes as well.
Beautiful. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about, Dennis.
Yes, it is. Anyway, not too much of your time.
No, you never. Listen, we have a little bit of banter now and then, Dennis. You know, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, and you're such a good sport. Are we going to speak? We'll speak before, but are we going to speak on New Year's Eve? You're going to give us a call?
I'll give you a call on New Year's Eve, certainly. Yeah.
A friend of mine, a friend of ours, Dennis, is doing a New Year's Eve show on another radio station.
Is he?
Yeah, and I wonder what the rules are on kind of phoning him up while he's doing his... Well, see if... I tell you what, it's Justin's doing a show on the radio station that I used to work at. I'll have a word with Justin and I'll see if he'll be generous enough to come on this show on the phone, because he's a good mate of mine. I've not seen him for such a long time. While he's playing a record, maybe he'd be up for doing that.
He is a good bloke.
He is a good bloke. I'll have a word with him and see if he'll just come on.
Memory.
Yeah.
I used to be able to have. I had a sheet I'd worked out.
Yes.
240 4-digit numbers. Not one of them was repeatable.
What?
And I could tell you which one it was.
Go on then.
Reading me say 10 A, B, alphabet down one side.
Yes.
1 to 10 at the top, so they'd say 10Z. And I used to be able to rattle off what the number was.
Why did you bother learning all those numbers?
Well, it was just one of those daft things. You get out a book on memory.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, we'll have a try. And it did work.
All right.
I can't do it now.
6D.
Damn it, takes me all my time to remember my house number now.
Oh, yeah, I know. Dennis, always a pleasure, mate.
All the best,
Ta-ta.
anyway.
Bye-bye. Ta-ta. We'll see if we can get Justin. Maybe. I don't expect to go on that station, which would be nice, but I don't expect to. But we'll see if he'll come on while he's playing a record. Shall we see if we can do that? Maybe we'll see if we'll get Kelly to come on as well. She's been sending me absolute filth recently via text, so we can pull her up on that. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Ken, I'll come to you in a minute 'cause you've been waiting for ages. But before that, it's Craig.
Ian.
Craigie boy.
I'm taking a punch. You seem to be nice to your listeners this evening.
Yeah, well, but I can turn at a moment's notice.
Yeah, I was like Alan. I was too scared on yesterday's show. Listen to it all, though. Brilliant show.
It was all right. Do you know what? I'm glad I did it. It was an experiment. I've been wanting to do it for a while. I'm glad I did it. I enjoyed it. There were bits that could have worked a bit better and bits that I was really surprised at how well they worked. But a lot of it was about the reaction afterwards. And some people got very upset by it, which is odd because it's just a radio show, guys. It's just a radio show. You know, none of this matters, Craig. None of this matters.
None of it matters.
No, but I've had to do a fair bit of blocking today on Twitter. But there you go.
Isn't that funny, though, isn't it?
Yeah, isn't it, though?
People, like you said, entitlement.
Yep. Yep.
So I recovered the... I have a front and a rear dash cam on my van. You remember I smashed my van up?
Yeah.
On
yeah, of course you were. Yes. You flipped it, but not all the way, just on its side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've uploaded 18 seconds of the rear dash cam to YouTube.
Oh, beautiful.
And I wondered if you wanted to see it.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. The footage of you crashing. What do I type in?
I've just sent you the link now, immediately.
Where have you sent it to?
Twitter.
Hang on a second. Here we go. This is it. Is there swearing in it? So you're driving along, it's the rear, going straight. Oh, still going. Oh, he's skidding. The back's gone over.
And then the
flipping heck! Hang on, I've got to play that noise again at the end. Hang on. Bloody, I've retweeted that.
It's like a Hollywood movie, isn't it?
It is outrageous. That is outrageous. Did you go into shock last night?
No, I haven't. I'm still buzzing. I have to buy a new van today.
I'm still buzzing. You twit.
Yeah, I've had to go into debt now and buy a new van, obviously.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And so I'm back behind the wheel.
Flipping it. What happens to the old van?
Oh, it's crushed to bits. I had ladders on the top.
Yeah.
And when they hit the central reservation, they just crushed in all the passenger side of the roof.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Man alive.
But it sounds lovely, doesn't it? An amazing noise.
That is an amazing, amazing sound. Fair play. Well, I'm glad you're alive, Craig.
Excellent.
All right, listen, thanks for calling. Ta-ta. Listen, someone's just sent me this. Is this going to... No, this might not work. Hang on a second.
You're going to love this item, and if you're not, you'll sit boggle-eyed, I promise you.
Paul Daniels, right?
He is not a professional entertainer. He is a doctor, and he's come from America to present this...
It's not the best quality, but listen.
It's not an art form, but it's a heck of a lot of fun at a party. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome Dr. Arthur Lynchon.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's going to recognise records just by looking at them.
Hello, Doc.
Look at him.
You really are, aren't you? Doctor of medicines and things.
That is correct.
That is correct. Now,
Catherine, we've got to find Arthur Lindgren and get him on the show.
You're not going to believe this, and you can try it yourself if you get your own LPs out. You can look at an LP and read the grooves.
That is correct.
It's classical music from a certain period.
Yeah, basically orchestral classical music from the time of Beethoven on to the 20th century, the early 20th century.
I'm going to jump forward a bit, see if we can see him doing it.
That stays shut. That was wonderful. In fact, I'd like you to move it away towards your husband so that this man can't get...
Hang on, here we go.
And I'd like you, Val, if you wouldn't mind, to check the list. But first of all, take out the LP, Sir George, and hold it up so camera 5... sort of flatten it to camera 5 to show people at home that we've marked them side A, and then if you turn it over and hold it very steady...
It's not the best quality. I'll retweet that. That's stunning. What an act. Now that, dear listener, is a proper act. Let me just retweet that. Incredible. That is a proper act. That's what it's all about, guys. Ken!
Hello.
Yes, Ken.
Hello there, Iain.
Good evening, Ken.
Good evening. I listened with interest to your discussion with Peter Tatchell. I remember watching that program on the television when he was in Russia.
Yes.
And it was absolutely disgraceful what happened to him. Also, the things which they're doing in Russia and in some Muslim countries to homosexual people is a total disgrace.
Oh, in some Muslim countries they chuck gay people off of the top of buildings.
Yes. This is shameful. No genuine Christian supports this thing.
No, but it's not all Muslim people that do it, and there are Christians who also believe terrible things about gay people, about how what they do is sinful and how they're going to go to hell. I'm sure you don't think that, do you, Ken?
Oh no, the Bible does certainly teach, for example, that adultery is sin.
Yeah, but being gay isn't adultery, is it?
Yeah, but just hold on, Iain. The Bible is clear about sexual sin, adultery sin, fornication sin.
Yeah, but hang on, gay people being gay doesn't mean you are adulterous.
No, I'm saying that there's different sins, sexual sins.
Oh, of course.
Homosexuality.
Sorry?
And pedophilism.
Yes,
adultery.
Pedophilism. Okay. It's interesting. It's interesting that Christians quite often. It's interesting that Christians quite often say the word homosexual and then pedophilism.
What's that?
Immediately afterwards. Where exactly in the Bible does it use the word homosexuality?
I can't hear you.
Yeah. Where exactly in the Bible, Ken, does it say? Does it say thou shalt not put your willy inside another man?
If yourself, Iain, Romans chapter 1.
What does it say? What does it say?
What does it say? Well, it says that men who have sex with men...
No. Give me the exact quote. Because it doesn't say that. It doesn't say men who have sex with men, does it?
Right, let me get the Bible out.
Please do, Ken.
Right, hold on.
Because
Romans chapter 1, I'll just get it here.
Yes, sir.
I'm just at Romans now. Romans chapter 1.
Yep.
It says...
Thou shalt not put your willy near another man's bottom.
This is what it says here.
Yes.
For the wrath of God... This is in Romans chapter 1.
Yes.
Verse 18. For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who hold the truth in unrighteousness.
Right.
Because that which may be known of God is manifest in them, for God has shown it unto them.
Get to the bit about being gay, Ken.
Right. I'm trying to get to it.
Just get to it.
Wherefore, here we go. Wherefore, God also gave them up to uncleanness through the lusts of their own hearts, to dishonour their bodies between themselves.
Yeah. Where does it say, thou shalt not put your willy inside another gentleman? Where does it say that bit? It doesn't, Ken.
It says here, for this cause God gave them up into vile affections.
It doesn't. So vile affections means homosexual, does it?
That's what it's speaking about. In Romans
That's your interpretation. It doesn't say anything specific about homosexuality. It doesn't say anything specific.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't,
Listen to
Ken. It doesn't, mate. Trust me, I lost my job over it. It
Listen
doesn't
to
say
this.
anything specific. What you're preaching, Ken, with that part of the Bible is hatred. You're preaching hatred with that. You are, mate. You are preaching hatred. Now, the whole Christian thing is lovely. It's all about loving each other and stuff like that. You are twisting a bit of the Bible and telling some people that just because they love someone who's got the same bits downstairs as they have, that they are sinful, Ken.
Well,
and that
that's
is
not
hatred.
sin.
That is
It's
hatred,
not.
Ken.
Can I say something, Ian?
Yeah, you can.
It is not a sin for a man to love another man.
It's just the sex bit, is it? That's the fun bit! That's the fun bit, Ken!
God says it in the Bible.
No, he doesn't, Ken. No, he doesn't. Trust me. I argue with people much better than you are arguing about what it does and doesn't say in the Bible about being gay, Ken. It doesn't. It doesn't say that. And you're preaching hate, and it's unpleasant, okay? Who cares? Who cares? As long as it's consenting, who cares where they put their what's it? Who cares? 0344 499 1000. This is Talk Radio.
Late night, Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
Hi there, nice to be with you. Happy you could stick around. Like to introduce Legs Larry Smith, drums. And Sam Spoon's rhythm pole. And Vern Dudley Bohay Noel, bass guitar. And Neil Innes, piano. Come in, Rodney Slater, alto saxophone. With Roger Ruskin Spear on tenor sax. Hi, Vivian Stanchel, trumpet. Big hello to Big John Wayne, xylophone. And Robert Morley, guitar. Billy Butlin, spoons. And looking very relaxed, Adolf Hitler on vibes. Nice. Princess Anne on sousaphone. Introducing Liberace clarinet. With Garner Ted Armstrong on vocals. Lord Snooty and his pals tap dancing. In the groove with Harold Wilson violin. And Franklin McCormack on harmonica. Over there, Eric Clapton, ukulele. Hi, Eric. On my left, Sir Kenneth Clark, bass sax. Great honor, sir. And specially flown in for us, a Sessions gorilla on Vox Humana. Nice to see Incredible Shrinking Man on euphonium. Drop out with Peter Scott on duck call. Hearing from you later, Casanova, on horn. Yeah, digging General de Gaulle on accordion. Really wild, General. Thank you, sir. Roy Rogers on trigger. Julian Wildman of Borneo on bongos. Count Basie Orchestra on triangle. Thank you. Great to hear the Rollinsons on trombone. Back from his recent operation, Dan Drupp, hot. And representing the Flower People, Quasimodo on bells. Wonderful to hear Brainiac on banjo. We welcome Baldunicans himself. Very appealing, Max Jaffa. That's nice, Max. What a team, Zebra Kid and Horace Batchelor on percussion. And a great favorite and a wonderful performer, all of us here, J. Arthur Rank on gong.
Evening, dear listener. Bored of the usual Brexit, Trump, immigration, Muslim claptrap? Well, you're free of it here. You're free of it here, dear listener. This is a show where we celebrate, we embrace, I know it's unusual. It's not going to be to everyone's taste. Not everyone will get it, right? Not everyone will understand it. And that's fine, okay? But on this show, I'm bored of listening to radio, and it's people pointing the fingers at people of different colour or different religion or who wear different clothing, going, "Ooh, look at them! They're the reason you can't get a job. They're the reason that you can't get a doctor's appointment." I'm bored of that. Those places exist, and if you want to go and find them, beautiful, you can do. But this show is about celebration, and it's about embracing all kinds of wonderful, wonderful things. If you want to give us a call, 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. Jim the Dancer, evening, Jim.
Hello, Ian. How are you?
I'm all right, fella. How's it going?
Not too bad. I'm trying my best, trying to bear up with things, after the big breakup I had in February when my friend died.
Yep. Yeah. And how are things going?
I'm trying to bear up to it. I'm struggling, really hard struggling, but I'm doing a couple of gigs now and again when I can.
Yeah, with Christmas coming up, it must be tough as well.
Yeah, there's not much work around, and I'm feeling the poverty a little bit at the moment.
Yeah. Of course. I'm sorry to hear you're having a tough time, mate.
Yeah. Have you got any parties going at all in the coming months?
No! I hate parties!
Not parties, venues, like do's and things.
Well, we did one on Sunday just gone.
Oh, I missed it.
Yeah, you missed it. Because I know you're not keen. It's in the same place. It's in Islington, and I know you're not keen on travelling.
Yeah, I don't mind going over so much now. It was the Halloween I didn't want to go over on, but what I was going to say now.
Well, we've got one in February. The next one's in February, if you want to come and perform at that.
Yeah, I'll come in February, yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Then that's yours, Jim. You got a booking.
Yeah, thanks. I'm on Britain's Got Talent on Saturday for an audition for the last and final time.
Hang on, Britain's Got Talent. Is that starting up again?
Yeah, it's already on. It's on every year, but I put in for it for this last and final go. One last swing of the dice.
Yeah. And how are you allowed to tell us how you got on?
I haven't been on it yet. I'm going on this Saturday.
They're recording it on Saturday.
Well, I'm going on Saturday for an audition, and then if they want me, they'll call me back in April.
Okay, I see. Oh, I see. So this is a pre-audition audition. All right. Well, I hope it works out for you, Jim, the way you want it to.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Yeah, that'll be nice. All right, mate. But what are you doing for Christmas?
Probably being miserable, thinking of my cat's gone and my friend gone. There's not many places to go over Christmas, I'm afraid.
You going to be on your own?
Yeah, I'll be on my own. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Well, I will. I'll be thinking of you, Jim. I'll bow my head for a few seconds and think of you, mate.
Yeah, I couldn't work the computer, by the way, and to get any messages in, but I'm still on Facebook.
All right. Well, you work it out in your own time, I'm sure.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
All right, Jim. Well, listen, you give us a call any time you want, mate.
Yeah, good to speak to you, Ian.
You too, fella. See you later on. Take care.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. Ah, dear. Well, don't it just make you think? Huh? Doesn't it? 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. We'll be back after these messages.
The radio show for people who know the best part of the day is the night.
Late Night Ian Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
27-year-old Andrew Hyde is a roller coaster enthusiast, and he says that he can identify 5 roller coaster rides chosen at random from a list of 24 rides from England and America by just listening to the sound the roller coaster makes. Before we meet Andrew, I need some help to choose the rides that he's going to identify. And I'm going to get me help from up here.
How good is Matthew Kelly? How good is Matthew Kelly?
Right, now, I want you to see up on those boards there, you'll see 24 numbers coming up.
So this fella is going to recognise roller coasters by the sound the roller coasters make. Hang on, let's jump. Right, okay. Thank you to Al, who sent me this.
I'm right along with you with this one. I love roller coasters. I absolutely love them. Do you like roller coasters? Yes! Great. What was the first roller coaster ride you ever went on?
The Grand National at Blackpool Pleasure Beach.
Ah, yes, the racing one.
The racing one.
Yeah, and you enjoyed it so much?
I got married on it.
Did you really?
I did.
You got married on a roller coaster?
Yes.
You sick person. What's your favourite roller coaster?
It still is the Grand National at Blackpool Pleasure Beach.
Yeah. You old romantic.
Right, let's just, I want to hear
All
him.
noise, because there are wooden type roller coasters, steel type roller coasters, so I'll be narrowing it down in that way.
Right, let's jump forward to the bit where he does it. Let's see if he can actually.
The mind developer.
I miss You Bet. You Bet was a good programme. Here we go. It's a roller coaster.
That's the Viper at Six Flags Magic Mountain in California.
Let's see if you're right.
How the flippin' hell does he do that?
You're right, this is useless, Tony. OK. You ready for the second one?
Ready.
Right, here we go with the second one.
That's a wooden roller coaster. That's the Mean Streak at Cedar Point, Ohio.
Well, it's either that or Judy sharing her lunch. Let's find out.
I mean... that is nuts! And he goes on and gets them all right. You Bet was the best programme ever. You Bet was the best programme ever. And then someone sent me this email. Patrick sent me this email. You mentioned You Bet reminded me of the most amazing trick I saw on that show. By the way, if you want to call in, 0344 499 1000. It's the first time in the whole show that the switchboard is, we've got some space on the switchboard. So now would be an excellent time to call in if you've been umming and ahhing. Lots of people bottling it tonight as well. We've had about half a dozen people who want to phone up and speak to Ian. Yeah, sure, okay. What do you want to say? So don't bottle it. I'll be lovely to you. You can phone in. Anyone can phone in. Loads of people bottling it on. They phone up and then we call them back and we can't answer. Some people don't know my name. Some people on Twitter saying they're going to phone up and then they don't phone up. Everyone's welcome. Even Moss's. Everyone's welcome. 0344 499 1000. It's a loving show. We embrace everyone. So if you want to call in and you're a bit nervous, don't. It's a piece of cake. If not, I'll just sit here and go through the papers for the next 45 minutes. But Patrick says, you talking about You Bet reminded me of the most amazing trick I saw on that show. There was a guy who would put a lighted candle in front of a speaker in a soundproof room, and they would play something like any top 40 single from the past 50 years, and by watching the movement of the flame, he would name the song. Come on. It was incredible stuff, and he got them all right. I remember that one of the songs played was Kaylee by Marillion. Really? You Bet. Who else? Didn't Ant and Dec host You Bet for a while? Darren Day. It was Matthew Kelly, then Darren Day, and then Ant and Dec, I think, did it. And God, Matthew Kelly was on Paul Ross's show the other week because he's doing pantomime. And he was talking about pantomime. And I miss Matthew Kelly on the telly because he used to be Mr. Saturday Night. And the reason he stopped being Mr. Saturday Night is because there were false sexual allegations made about him. There was a story that he was a paedophile. And this is before it was trendy to be a paedophile. And the story broke and he got taken off of Stars in Their Eyes. And he never came back, despite the story being absolutely 100% completely false. And he never came back. And I always felt ashamed at the way we, and I say we, I mean Britain, treated Matthew Kelly. I felt we treated him appallingly. Because he's brilliant. He was brilliant. He is brilliant. Such a good TV host. And we treated him shamefully. Yeah, of course, the allegation should have been investigated. Of course it should have been. But as soon as it was found out that there was nothing there, we should have been bowing down in front of him, apologising and saying, what can we do? You want Stars in Their Eyes back? Beautiful, you got it. You want another series of You Bet? Certainly, sir. Because TV is a worse place without him on. He'll never get back because he's in his, what is he, 66 now, I think he said when he was on Paul Ross. So we'll never get him back. You have to make do with him in pantomime, which is great, but I'd rather see him on telly. I don't even know what Saturday night TV is anymore. It's X Factor and Strictly, isn't it? I don't really know what else there is. Doctor Who, I suppose, is it? Is it? I don't know. I want to see Matthew Kelly back on the telly. Let's get Kelly back on the telly. It rhymes. It's got to be a good slogan. David!
Hip, hip, hip.
What kind of cake, David?
Jaffa.
Oh, controversial. Hang on a minute. Say that again.
Yeah.
Say that again, David. Say that again.
Jaffa.
No need to be rude, mate. I was just asking. Seedless, you see.
Yeah.
Yep. What you got for us, David?
Oh, God, my heart is racing.
What, you nervous?
Yeah.
Do you want to listen? I tell you what. Have we spoken?
No. Don't go away and come back.
No, I was going to bring Al into the conversation. Al?
Hello there, Ian.
Now, you're not nervous, are you, Al?
I just sent you the roller coaster thing, so I'm getting a vicarious kind of nervous.
You snowflakes.
Yeah,
You snowflakes make me want to puke. I'd never seen that roller coaster clip before, Al. That was absolutely stupendous.
Well, there's one thing I think that can top that from my memory of You Bet, and this is how kind of sad and nerdy I could be accused of being, but I went to a talk about 3 or 4 years ago about the best moments of You Bet.
You went to a talk about it? Who was giving a talk?
I did.
That's brilliant.
It was. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Boring Conference, which is held in London.
Oh yes,
annually.
I have. Yeah.
Well, James Ward, who organises the Boring Conference, he did a very amusing talk about.
Well, he should be disqualified if he's something like You Bet, because that's not boring.
Well, you see, it's boring. It's kind of a double. Well, it's not a double negative, but it's kind of. It's an antidote to the Interesting Conference, because there is something called the Interesting Conference, so they had the Boring Conference. But all I was going to say is a quick one, is that there was a guy he talked about at that talk who was on You Bet, I think the German version, but they did edit it into the British version, 1992. Now, his ask, or his bet, was that he could identify postage stamps from around the world just by licking them. Just by the taste of international postage stamps.
Come on. So what? He'd identify the country that the stamp came from by the taste of the stamp.
Now, at the time, James Ward showed a clip, and I've just searched it on YouTube, and on the internet.
Yes.
Let's not limit ourselves. And I can't find the video.
Well, if it's not on YouTube, then it didn't happen.
Yeah, I know.
That's the thing. It didn't happen.
Well, that's history now, isn't it? You know that's if history's not written by the winners, it's written by the YouTubers now.
By the YouTubers. Well, if anybody, everybody has been great tonight. If anybody,
Carsten Ebers was his name. So if anyone, I think that's why I've got it down as Carsten Ebers or Carsten Eber or Carsten Weber or something like that.
All right, and he could. That sounds. You don't get those kind of nonsensical. There's no outlet for those acts anymore, is there?
Well, there's Honey G, but I mean, she's not really.
Oh yeah, I mean, she's going to make a fortune, and good luck to her.
But a man who can lick stamps and tell the country by the taste, he's not going to get signed up by Simon Cowell, is he?
No, and yet these are the people we should be rewarding with millions. Everyone should know this gentleman's name and should have DVDs of him live in concert. There's a brilliant TED talk, right?
Yeah.
And my boys love it. My eldest boy, because he's into maths, and it's this guy, and he can he's like mental arithmetic, and he's brilliant. And he'll get people to give him like 2 4-digit numbers, and he'll multiply them and do it like in a second. And then I think he does one where it's like 2 10-digit numbers, and it takes him a while. And he talks you through how he's doing it. He's going, right, well, so that's going to be a 3, and I'm going to put the 3 up in that corner of my brain. And he goes through, and it's brilliant. I mean, he's a geek. The geeks will inherit the earth.
He's not a darts player, is he?
No, he's no darts player.
Because every time I play darts with, 501 with some of those guys, and I'm still looking at where my darts are in the board, and they've worked out where, where I'm scored.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. Al, see, nothing to be nervous about. You did brilliantly, mate. Thank you.
Cheers.
Tatty bye. David?
Yes.
It's easy.
Oh, yeah. No, it's really easy.
Go on, what you got for us?
Well, I know I don't want to bring it down tonight or anything, but I know you I listen to the podcasts a lot, and I know you talk about mental health.
Yeah.
And well, I'm quite new to the whole thing. Well, I'm not really new to it, I guess, but what I'm trying to say is 2 weeks ago I was diagnosed with having depression.
Yeah.
And obviously, I don't really know what I want to say, really, but I know your experience with it. A lot of your listeners are.
Was the diagnosis, was that not a slight relief to have, like, a name for it?
Well, do you know what? I wasn't expecting it.
Oh.
To be honest.
Yeah.
I was training as a teacher, yeah?
Yeah.
And finding it really difficult. And it just got to that point where I knew I couldn't carry on with it.
Yeah.
And so I went to the doctors, and I suppose I was just looking to be signed off with stress.
Yeah.
But then when he said depression, it kind of shocked me a little bit. But actually, it kind of makes sense.
What?
And
I'm struggling. I'm normally excellent at guessing people's ages, and I'm struggling to get yours. I'm going to say 23.
God, no. I'm 35.
35, way out. That's unusual.
Yeah.
Way out. Scratch that from the record, Your Honour.
That's probably the worst I've heard.
And you're trained to be a teacher, so that would imply that what have you been doing for the last 10, 15 years then?
I worked in IT for 10 years.
Yeah, how did that go?
Yeah, it was fine. I stayed in the same company, but that reached its own conclusion, and I wanted to change and do something else and do something that was more worthwhile.
So what was you don't have to answer any of these questions. Tell me to jog on if you want. What was happening that made you think, I'm going to go and see the doctor because something's not quite right?
I was working every night, working till varying between about 10 p.m. or 1 a.m.
Yeah.
I was, I've got a little kid as well, so working at the weekends was tough, but I was doing what I could.
Yeah.
And I was just getting massively behind. It was completely unmanageable.
Overwhelming.
Yeah. Yeah, and it just reached a point where I don't know, I guess I kind of broke down. I knew I couldn't do it anymore. And so I had to find some kind of release.
Well, and what do you mean by some kind of release?
Well, to not do it anymore, basically. I went to the doctors to essentially get a sick note so I didn't have to go in. And so he diagnosed depression, and the next day I quit.
Was the quitting any relief at all?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I've since wiping all that from my list of what I need to do. It was good. But then, that was 2 weeks ago. Since then, I've found that, I don't know, I'm kind of recognising things a lot more. I realise that I've always been fairly anxious in certain situations. Well, very anxious.
Yeah.
And since then, I've had good days and I've had bad days. But I guess it's making me more aware of not necessarily what's going on in my mind, but
yeah,
there's something. Something there.
So, what are you going to do? What has the doctor suggested? Are you going to speak to anyone? Are you taking pills? What's going to happen?
He said he could give me medication or I could speak to someone.
Right.
And so I said I'd rather speak to somebody first.
Yeah.
But you know how things are. I've kind of applied to that and I'm waiting to hear. So I don't know when I'm going to get to talk to
Do you know
someone.
any idea what the waiting list is like in your area? 3 months or something? It tends to be the usual thing, I think.
Oh, they reckoned it'd be like a couple of weeks.
Hey, well that's good. That's good going then.
Yeah, but I'm not expecting anything before January. But
what can I do, David?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not really expecting you to do anything. I just, I've always been interested in your chats with various people about mental health, but never kind of applied it to a personal level. I guess I'm just kind of saying now I will. I don't really know what else.
No, there isn't anything else to say. I thoroughly recommend the Matt Haig book, Reasons to Stay Alive, as a good read.
I remember you talking about that and speaking to him as well. And I did Google that the other day, but I haven't ordered it.
Order it on Amazon, and then you don't have to read it. I had it sitting in my spare room for 8 months because I couldn't face reading it. I didn't want to read it. And then when I did, it was like, oh, right, I get it. And, call in any time. There's nothing I can say, really, is there? But, what can I say? There must be something. Hang on a minute, let me think. There'll be something I can say. Hang on. What works for me when people talk to me? You're not alone. Well, yeah. It will pass. Well, it will pass, but that's not very helpful.
Actually, the podcast you had where you were talking about loneliness.
Yeah.
That rang a few bells with me.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird because I didn't really used to have a lot of time where I was by myself.
Yeah.
I was either at work or I was at home with the family, and I actually craved even just a day by myself where I could, where I could do whatever I wanted. Whereas now, I'm at home on my own during the day. I've been finding plenty of things to do, but it still doesn't feel like I'm having that. It doesn't feel satisfying.
No.
And sometimes when I'm on my own during the day, I don't know, frustrate myself.
You're not well, David. You're not well.
Thanks.
No, you're not though. But you're not. It's you might as well have been diagnosed with cancer or a broken leg or whatever. You're ill. It's an illness, and that's and I guess that's the thing that I should try and keep remembering.
Yeah, well, a couple of people have said to me, "Oh, well, now you've quit the job. That's what was causing you the stress. Things will be better." And to a degree, they are, but. New stresses
will appear. New things to make you feel lousy will appear, I'm afraid, David.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm really glad you've called, and there'll be lots of people listening who will identify with what you're talking about. And you went to the doctor. Well done for going to the doctor, because that's a big thing. And, you can start getting the help that you need. There's nothing I can say that's gonna make you feel better. But apart from, you can give me a call anytime you want.
And hey, if nothing else, at least it gave me something to talk to you about. Because
exactly, we're brothers in our misery.
Yeah, I've not really had a decent reason to phone up before.
Well, look, David, you can call in any time, up or down. Yeah.
Thank you.
Nice one, man. Take care.
Cheers.
Thank you. It sucks, doesn't it? Doesn't it suck, huh? 0344 499 1000. This is Talk Radio.
Late night Iain Lee.
On air and off the leash.
On Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
Now, someone sent me this. It's been doing the rounds, and someone sent it to me yesterday, but I couldn't retweet it because we're doing the angry show. And boy, oh boy, didn't some people get angry? Some people took it on a very personal level. Some people won't be listening to me again. Some people listened to me tonight for the first time ever. Some people sending me all kinds of abuse, and it's crazy. It was just a show, guys. Just get over it. Go and clean your own backyard up. But someone sent us, and Limmy tweeted it today, this app that lets you go around the world and listen to live radio. Now, I'm not active. It's planting sound seeds, sprouting live radio. It's radio.garden.
It's amazing, isn't it?
That's capital. Are we here? Hang on.
I don't know whether they're FM.
Oh, is it only FM?
I suspect so.
All right, where should we go in the world?
I like Cuba.
Cuba. Oh, I don't understand globes. Where is Cuba?
Right, go past America.
Yeah. There we go, Radio Cubana. You're telling me they've only got 2 radio stations?
Well, I suspect they're the approved ones.
Jamaica. Hang on a minute. So you can go... Isn't that funny?
I love it because...
Kingston, Jamaica.
Because that's what's happening in someone's house somewhere across the world.
Okay, let's go to America. What's this?
And then the other...
Yeah, I want that one.
...we had on Monday. If you worry about what Vegas says, which whether you worry about it or not, they're usually pretty accurate.
Funny. Radio.garden.
2 games. One of them, point spread, dead on the number. The other one couldn't have missed by more.
What's this? Hang on.
He's fantastic, he is slick, he's a Roman Catholic.
Wow.
It's Moyles. There's a feature on there where you can hear jingles. Let's listen to the jingles from these stations. Hang on. This is a jingle from... This is from 1962. God, this is geeky. You can go around the world, listen to the jingles. Hang on. This is terrifying, isn't it? Yeah. Let's go have a quick look at America. Hang on. Let's go to America. Here we go. What's this? Oh, what was that? The hell is this? It's from 1961. Isn't it weird?
Yeah.
1970s. Here we go. It's the strangest.
Whoever came up with this is an absolute genius.
Yeah. I mean, a geek.
Amazing, though.
Here we go.
Yes, as a teenager, we had one of those radios with stations on, and I would trawl through and find...
Now I've clicked the stories button, and it's taking me to radio stories.
The music of languages you could...
Hang on a minute. What is this?
It was a big part of our...
Hang on.
I'm struck. I'm a fairly late convert to Facebook and social media.
This is the weirdest thing. I'm not quite sure what this is.
You know, my favourite transnational radio experience had nothing...
It's stories about radio from all around the world. And what's this? Montreal, Canada.
Welcome, this is Yafa.
and her father Laith. Today on this Arabic lesson, we will be teaching you 2 expressions. Welcome and blessed Ramadan.
Oh dear, controversial.
I was in New York a year ago, and I remember turning on the radio and...
Isn't that funny?
I love it. I love it.
Some music station came out. Great.
Oh, let's go to click on the history. We'll turn this for a minute. It's a bit geeky. Let's click on the history button. Okay, what's this? Oh, wow. From 1973, Danish reporter goes back to where he used to live in 1962.
Disse fugle lyder måske som ganske almindelige fugle, sådan som man kan høre
Oh
dem
my
overalt.
God! Well, this is the next 3 weeks sorted.
Benvenuti a Intermix, una radio internazionale tutta femminile.
Oh, all women.
Yeah. Oh, no, I can't stop it. How do I stop it? No, I can't turn it off.
Bienvenido a Fame FM, una radio hecha por
No,
mujeres.
stop.
International Women's Radio.
Stopped. There we go. It's good, though, isn't it?
It's amazing.
Radio.garden. It's proper. It's proper geeky, but what geeky fun? What geeky fun, huh? 0344 499 1000. It's the last 20 minutes of the show, guys.
Late night, Iain Lee on Talk Radio.
We have ways of making you talk.
0344 499 1000 is the phone number. Sylvia!
Hello, Ian.
Hello, Sylvia.
I thought your programme this evening has been quite interesting.
Oh, thank you very much
I've listened to Peter Tatchell,
Yeah.
and I thought he's an absolute brick for what he has gone through.
He's a what?
A brick.
Oh, she said brick. I do apologise, Sylvia. I thought I heard something else. I thought that was rude.
No, listening to him, and I've got nothing but admiration for him.
I think he's an absolute legend. I think what we're going to start doing on this show, Sylvia, is every now and then people that, should be thanked, we're just going to get them on and thank them. And what an interesting story. I mean, you go on YouTube and look at some of the clips and some of the ridiculously violent situations he's found himself in. And I've met him. If you ever meet him, he's a very tall, thin kind of. You wouldn't pick him out you wouldn't spot him on the underground or anything. He's just this kind of normal looking bloke, and he goes and does these abnormal, brave things. I'm glad you enjoyed that, Sylvia. Thank you.
Also, are you listening, Ian?
Unfortunately, yes.
What I'd like to say is, I can remember. Do you remember Kenny Everett?
Yeah, vaguely. I remember him a little bit. Yeah.
Kenny Everett. Well, we're going back a few years.
Yeah.
And he used to come out and said, "I wish I was normal."
Yeah.
And because I can understand why he come out with that,
Yeah.
wish he was normal, because of the abuse, because you had to keep it then under wraps.
Yeah.
And all I would say is, there for the grace of God goes I, but what I would say is, Peter, never be ashamed of what you are. You have got to live how you are.
Yeah, well, he does.
And also, Ian,
Yes, Sylvia.
I listen to Ken. I like listening to Ken.
Well, if you want, we can give you his phone number.
No, I don't want his phone number, but I like his attitude to life. And also, David's just been on about depression.
Yeah.
I've been there, and you can come through it.
Can I ask you a question, Sylvia?
Yes.
Thank you. How long have you been listening to this show?
I've only knew.
I know. Was last night the first night that you listened?
Yes.
Was it really? And how did you discover it?
Through the dials.
So just
I wanted to listen to something that tells you how it is.
Oh God. Well.
Yeah, you're laughing, but can I say to David?
Yes.
David,
Yes.
I've been there,
Yeah.
and what do you think I used to be when I was depressed?
A man.
I used to avoid people.
Yeah.
And what do you think it is? I didn't take to tablets. I went cold turkey. I was given tablets,
Yeah.
but people said I looked like a zombie.
Well.
But what do you think? You can come through it and you'll be a better person. And never ridicule anybody with depression because it can happen to anybody.
Exactly. And don't send rude messages with people referencing their depression as though
But
it's a
what
sign
I would
of
like
weakness.
to say is
Yes.
you're a fantastic person because I've listened to you and I listened to the chap where he was his wheelchair.
Yeah, oh, Gerry, yeah.
I like your attitude.
We're going to sort it out, Sylvia. We're sorting it out. We're not having that. We're not having it! Sylvia, I'm glad you found us. I'd be interested to know how long you listen, but we'll see. Yesterday was an unusual show. It's not normally like that, but I'm glad you found us.
Okay, thank you.
Speak again soon, my love. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. How funny that she discovered us yesterday on what was an unusual show, to say the least.
I find it fascinating that she enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I mean, she enjoyed tonight.
Yeah, good. Well, you know.
You can, you know.
You can, you know, guys. You can.
I also like Sheila because she answers her own questions, which I think's always handy, gives you a bit of a rest.
Yep. Well, let's get something from the papers for the last 11 minutes of the show. What have I written down here? Hang on a minute. I've written some stuff down here. I'm half hungry. I've got the kids tomorrow, so I'm going to get 3 hours sleep, and then I've got to drive into London for a voiceover, then dash back to pick the kids up from school. I'm going to be crotchety tomorrow night. I am going to be very, very tired, dear listeners. So tomorrow's show might be a little bit grumpy. There we go. So, Mum Emma Tapping sparked an online storm. Oh, this is last Christmas, is it?
She's doing it again, though.
Oh, is she? Oh, good for her. Where an online storm last Christmas when a snap of her tree with a mountain of gifts went viral. Well, that's just people being jealous. But despite being accused of abusing her 3 children by buying them 80 presents each, worth £1,500 in total. Is that £1,500 for the 80 times 3?
See, this is the thing.
240.
I don't think that's a lot for 80 presents. She must be buying little things, like stocking fillers.
Is it £1,500 for 80 or £1,500 all in, 240?
That's what I understood.
Well, despite being accused of abusing her 3 children by buying them 80 presents each, worth £1,500 in total. So that's 240.
Yeah.
Well, that's nothing then.
I think it's all little bits and bobs.
Emma has forked out even more this year for Mia, 14, Ella, 10, and toddler Tatum, who will each have 96 parcels to unwrap. Defiant Emma will defend herself on Channel 5's programme. The proud parent, who runs a holiday cottage in the Isle of Man, declared, "I couldn't give a toss what anyone thinks. It's not going to change the way I do things." She added, "If you ask me, do I spoil my kids? I would say at Christmas, yes, I do. But I don't spoil them throughout the year. My family make me proud." I mean,
it's their money.
You can't have a go at someone for buying a lot of presents. I mean, it's a ridiculous amount of presents, and I don't necessarily...
I don't think kids are... She said... I was reading another paper. She said that they haven't touched a lot of the stuff they got last year. But then that's her lookout, isn't it? If she's cool with that...
Here we go. This is the story. This is the story I want.
I've got a playroom that looks like Toys R Us exploded, you know.
Listen to this. This is freaky. This is going to freak you out. Mum bugged by card riddle for 20 years. You see this? Mum Angie Kenny says she is baffled by mystery greeting cards being hand-delivered to her home. They have turned up for the past 20 Christmases, are addressed to Lynn and Bob, and signed Eileen.
But there's no Lynn and Bob, is there?
No. This year's card contained a black and white photo of a holidaying couple holding hands with a girl. Oh, God, this is heartbreaking.
I feel sorry for Eileen.
A line from Eileen reads, "I found this photo while sorting it out and know you will love it."
Oh.
Mum of 2, Angie, 45, said, "When it came, I heard the letterbox go, but there was no sign of anyone." Don't try and pretend it's a ghost story, for God's sakes. "No Lynn and Bob have ever lived here. It's strange and bugs me every year." Angie of Whetstone hopes the photo might solve the puzzle. She said, "It looks like it's the 50s. They're a very smiley family. It needs to be reunited with someone." Oh, God, isn't it?
I feel sorry for Eileen, don't you?
Of course I do.
Because she's...
Well, I feel sorry for Lynn and Bob. Because the real Lynn and Bob must be going, we've never heard from that bloody Eileen. What a cow. She's got all those pictures of ours as well. What an absolute cowbag she is.
Good use of the word cowbag.
Thank you very much indeed. I think that's sad, that story.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Eileen thinks that Lynn and Bob are having a good time and enjoying her missives, and they haven't seen one.
I haven't seen one. Oh, I'm tired. Play a Peerdeck. I am tired, dear listener. 0344 499 1000 is the telephone number. Oh! Here we go. It's billed as a celebration of the 7 most influential women from the past 70 years. So it was little surprise that Margaret Thatcher topped the power list drawn up by Radio 4's Woman's Hour. But scroll through some of the other names and things start getting rather unconventional. The decision to feature American pop star Beyoncé, a strike leader, and even fictional singleton Bridget Jones has been described as unbelievable.
Really?
Probably by someone on Twitter.
Yeah. I think Beyoncé's fair enough.
They were followed by Labour MP Barbara Castle, feminist writer Germaine Greer, and Jaya Ben Desai, who campaigned for better working conditions. The list was completed by Bridget Jones and Beyoncé, apparently leaving no room for influential women such as current Prime Minister Theresa May. Well, hang on, what has she actually done?
Nothing yet. Let's have a look.
She's not done nothing yet. American civil rights activist Rosa Parks. All she did was sit on a bus. Anyone can do that. I've sat on a bloody bus. Or Catholic missionary Mother Teresa.
Don't they get it?
Oh, here we go.
This list is partly to get publicity, so if they put everyone's standard on, it'd be the same every year.
They've got the name of the person who said this was unbelievable.
Go on, who is it?
Anne Widdecombe.
Oh, right, OK.
Oh, it's unbelievable!
She's not on there.
Can you get that phone call, please? It's unbelievable! It's unbelievable! It's unbelievable! Sadly, it sums up the way we celebrate the trivial in the modern age. I thought Woman's Hour could have done better.
I don't think Beyoncé's trivial. I think she's doing amazing things.
There must be room for more weighty figures than Bridget Jones and Beyoncé. What about Helen Sharman, the first British astronaut? Or Betty Boothroyd, the first woman speaker?
I phoned her once. She pretended to be her own secretary.
She
did a voice.
Did she really?
Yeah, she went, "Oh, hello, love. Yeah, it won't be a second. Oh, hello, dear."
Oh, blimey.
She was great.
And I don't want to state the obvious, but isn't Bridget Jones fictional?
Yes, Anne.
Justifying their choice, the Women's Hour judging panel said Bridget Jones illustrated the complexity of women's lives, while Beyoncé was described as a beauty icon and a budding race relations figure. Panel chairman Emma Barnett, who is also a presenter on BBC Radio 5 Live, said...
And brilliant.
All right, mate.
She's been very nice to me.
All right, mate. Bring Catherine into the conversation. Good evening, Catherine.
Hi there.
Hello, Catherine.
Hi, it's Catherine from Manchester.
Hey, Catherine from Manchester.
Hi, I'm just phoning up with a campaign at the moment that we want to publicise to all radio viewers.
Well, hang on a second. Do you know who you're speaking to?
Yes, Iain from the radio.
Yes. And have you been listening to the show?
Pardon?
Have you been listening to the show?
On and off I have all evening, yes.
Yeah. It's not really the kind of show where we kind of do campaigns, and I'm slightly reluctant to let you go ahead in case it's a campaign that I disagree with.
No, it's not a campaign where it's like out of order.
Well, but I don't know what your campaign is, and it might be inappropriate.
No. I can tell you for sure it's not inappropriate.
But what? I mean, it makes me very uncomfortable.
Well, like I say, it shouldn't really be uncomfortable because, like I say, at this moment in time, it's for all your viewers to listen to. And like I say, I'm speaking to you live now. And like I say, I'm not a journalist.
No, I can tell.
I am not... Pardon, you can tell?
Yes.
That's quite intimidating.
Well, no, you're using the wrong words quite a lot.
Well, am I able to speak now?
I'm not going to let you.
Because it's to do with football, and can I talk about football?
No, not really, Catherine.
Pardon?
No.
Can I talk about the world in general? Politics?
What are you listening to in the background?
What am I listening to in the background?
Yeah,
Nothing. All I want to do is promote Saturn V to get to number 1.
Right. Okay. Thanks for calling. How do you think that? Catherine? How do you think that call went? She's gone.
She put the phone down.
What was that about?
I have no idea.
What? Flipping.
But hopefully everyone viewed that.
Yeah. I hope you got that, viewers. Oh bloody hell!
Where was she phoning from? I know Manchester, but I mean...
It sounded like from the bottom of a glass of beer. What was that about? What did she want to get to number 1?
I don't know. Which kind of defeats the point, doesn't it?
But she kept using... I've never heard anyone use the wrong word so many times.
Need to meet my mum.
Well...
Very similar.
Everything... Well, good luck, Catherine, with that campaign. I hope...
Definitely going to buy something that goes number 1.
I hope it gets to number 1, unless it's a song about, I don't know, that's promoting fascism. I don't know.
Don't know.
Well...
Where's the money going? We don't know.
On that bombshell, we can't tear Emma Barnett apart, and I was about to.
No, she's ace.
No.
She is.
No, mate. I was going to tear her apart. There's too many women on the radio these days. Huh?
Wow.
Let her know I was going to destroy her.
I will, I'll tell
on
her.
air. But she got away this time. Okay, back tonight at 10 o'clock. I'm going to be very, very tired, guys. Oh, look, there's Ed turned up. Look at that slacker.
With his dicky bow of stray like he's dynasty.
Christmas on Talk Radio.
It's an awful big turkey.
We'll get you talking.